Good sunny day, everybody. It's me, your friendly intergalactic sun prince of the sun, Enyou Solaris to Moshimas. You can also call me Solaris, or, and here's the crazy thing, you can also call me Soul, because that is also, okay. I did not need to scream while I was being moved slightly. While I was moving myself. Okay, we're good. Everything's fine. I don't mind streaming when I don't have any live viewers, because I know about the VOD. I know VOD watchers, lurkers, we respect and love you. I just feel a little bit awkward, but it's fine. We're gonna rant about gender for the next 3 hours. I hope you're ready for this one. If you clicked on this video not knowing anything about me, and you're like, oh hey, let's watch this VTuber talk about this low quality harem show, that'll be fun. You're in for a surprise buster. Because I have 1,400 words of notes, and the spoiler-free intro section before I start talking about episode 1 proper is 700 words. Is that like half? Is that half? I can't do math off the top of my head. That is about half, just under half. Because listen, I have a lot to say about the show, but I don't have a lot to say about the show's plot. Does that make sense? I'm gonna remove these GIFs. They're very distracting. These are like the oldest GIFs that I have. Because let's just get right into it. I still am like half burning for time to have an actual live chatter, but that's mostly because I'm concerned that the stream is not working properly, but I can just confirm that myself by doing this, and then we can see. Yep, there it is. I'm working on it. Is it? Oh, the desktop audio is not set properly. I thought I would be like, I'm talking over myself. Okay. I thought it would echo, but it did not echo. I just want to see how old these GIFs are specifically. They're some of the oldest GIFs I have. Dated Tuesday, October 16th, 2012. Which, you know what? That actually lines up pretty well. Because according to my notes, my list of every single anime that I've watched in order, I did watch, the first time I watched the show was back in late 2011, early 2012. So October, having GIFs saved for October 2012 does make sense. You know what, we'll just have that on screen. If it's, you know what, here, we'll just make it a little smaller. Just slightly less distracting. I put an amount of effort into making sure that they're perfectly countersynced up. So we can't just have this sit here. But I'm expecting someone to come into the stream and be like, hey, that's a little distracting. But it's mostly gonna distract me, if anything, as is the case that is currently happening right now. Anyway, we're talking about Kämpfer. Ken Pufa. It is a, hold on, we're on my first note, and we're already going on for way too long, but hey, you know how it goes. Kämpfer. Okay, so the dub is not crazy. Because the dub flip-flops between calling it Kämpfer and Kämpa with an F or a P. And the Japanese is Kenpufa. So maybe it is more of a P, but it's also a P. It's also German. It's German for fighter. Me sword Kämpfer. That's actually a good question. What is me sword fighter called in German? These are the questions that we need to ask during. This is the relevant on-topic discussions that you came here for. This. Does a Smash Wiki not state all the characters' different names in different languages? No, just me Kenjutsu Taipu. Smash Brothers Wiki, you gotta get on that. I could check that myself by just loading up Smash Ultimate and changing the language to German. But it's okay. Actually, now that I think about it, I want to say that I might have looked this up before, and that German has a weird translation. It's either German or Spanish. You know what? Not important. Not important. Not important. Not important. It might be like me fencer or something to that effect. Instead of me directly translated me sword Kämpfer. Anyway. How do I get my notes and chat on screen? Not that it's super relevant like right now, but just for the future. If let's say hypothetically that I wanted to have, if I had a chat and the screen and my notes at the same time, how would that be about? Yes, this is how it would be about. Well, I could also do this, I suppose. But yeah, you know what? That's better. You can't see. I do have the screenshot. We're just going to be talking about the show for the time being. But yes, this is from the actual show, just in case you were wondering what these GIFs were from. It's from the ending theme, where they do this dance, and it's fantastic. So we're just going to keep doing it. So we're just going to keep it on. Okay, so it's pronounced Kämpfer or Kämpfer. I think when I first announced it, I pronounced it wait, it's it's not Kanpa, it's not Kamfa, it's Kenfa. Okay? Let's mark that note as discussed, talked about, done. Where is the highlighter tool? Okay. So yeah, my history with this show is that I watched it back in 2011, and it just for some reason, you know, I'm not who's for certain why anything happens in this world, but it just stood out to me for some reason. So and I was like, you know what? Let's talk about it for a Pride Month. I know it's not the most, doesn't make the most amount of sense for Pride Month, because the other ones that I watched made them a little bit more sense, because I watched, if you're new, I did 3 anime-related things for Pride Month. We did a discussion podcast on Yuri on Ice. I watched a Yuri movie, and now we're talking about this. Okay, so we're gonna talk about gender here. We're not. If you want to hear me talk about, I do not need this, thing right here. Okay, not important. If you want to hear me talk about gay stuff, go to another. I mean, there might be some gay stuff during this stream as well. I'm your rambling. And before the stream started, I noticed that, the image that they use for the main character here is not properly cropped. There's a white part in their hair. Anyway, so let's actually start talking about the actual show. Like 10 minutes into the stream, 15. I don't know how long it's been. We're not gonna worry about this so much, okay? It'll be at times. Don't worry about it. Anyway. So, the plot of the show. I don't know why I'm so out of it. I think I'm just in a weird headspace right now because I'm moving literally tomorrow. This will be the last stream before I leave. But hey, you know, if no one's here to watch it, then again, we got lurkers and VOD viewers. And, but yeah, and also people can watch it later because I'll be gone for like a week or so. Like 2 weeks or so. Anyway, So, plot of the show, the whole premise of the show, this is the spoiler-free section, so we're not going to get into, like, the plot of what happened in each episode. But the premise is that a dude named Natsuru, I guess I can, well, no. We're not going to talk about the visuals of the show at the moment, okay? We'll get to that. So anyway, a dude named Natsuru gets chosen to become a Kämpfer. If I've mispronounced Kämpfer at any point in the entire stream, I've preemptively apologized. Dude named Natsuru gets chosen to be a Kämpfer and has to fight other Kämpfer. Why? Because the moderators, the government told them to. That's also a whole big thing. Don't worry about it. It's they're forces that at B that want them to fight, okay? The show does not explain why or how. I mean, it kind of does, but that's in the... Okay, for unexplained reasons, a dude named Natsuru gets chosen to become a Kämpfer and has to fight other Kämpfer. They have like a blue and red team system, and the blue team has to fight the red team. But only girls can become Kämpfer. So, but the main dude is a dude. So that's awkward, right? Do I even have a picture? Oh yeah, this is the main dude. In dude form. Okay, we're not going for the screenshots right now. We're focusing, okay? But yeah, so Natsuru has to become a girl when there is a fight. And also for various other reasons. And listen, so, and that is just the premise, the logic behind this. What the show actually is it is a low quality, trashy harem, fan servicey harem show from the 2000s. I want to say 2009, actually, the very end of the aughts. And listen, I am 100% aware that I am gleaming more from the show than what there really is. If you saw the title of the stream, you can probably, I called it the best trans wish fulfillment anime. And I know that's probably not what they were going for. I mean, like, listen, who are we to say that, you know, that they actually made the series not in mind of that or not? Who knows? In mind of the trans experience or not? Who knows? Probably not. Probably no. If you actually want an anime dealing with trans experience, then go watch something else. But for me, okay, listen. There has to be some some reason that this dumb harem show, of all the harem shows that I watched around that time, stood out to me for so long. And you know, so we're gonna talk about like what I interpreted off of this. But you know, going back to what I was saying, maybe it's not such a crazy thing that I'm interpreting so much gender stuff out of this show than there actually is. Again, probably the reason was just like, oh, if the main character turns into a cute girl, then there could be more cute girls in my harem series and it'll sell more copies or something to that effect. That's probably was the only bit of logic in there. But who knows? I mean, you know, like, especially around this time, if you remember Rosario plus Vampire, that dude just wanted to make a shonen action series, but the editors and publishers were just like, no, that'll never sell. If you wanna make it as a manga author, you have to make a harem thing. That's what's hot right now. So he's like, fine, I'll add your stupid harem thing. At the end of the first arc, the main character's gonna have a really big sword and he's gonna fight a giant evil monster and it's gonna be sick as fuck. Go read the manga. And then for the anime, they just decided, let's just pretend this is a dumb, low-quality harem series. So if you only ever seen the anime of Rosario Vampire, I highly recommend the manga. It's one of my favorite manga. And one of my least favorite anime. But anyway, maybe listen, okay, we all know clearly, like, okay, having a magical bracelet that turns you into a girl and you shoot fireballs from her hands, clearly, like, that's not a traditional trans experience. I assume. I don't know. I'm also going to admit I'm not the most knowledgeable about this. So there could be trans girls out there with a magical wristband and magical girl transformations and fireball shootings. I don't know. But we're just gonna go forward assuming that that's not a thing in real life. But, that would be ideal, would it not? I mean, I don't know. I'm not speaking for everyone here, but I don't know. Okay, listen. Let's talk about how anime handles ideals. So, in general, anime is known for exaggerating a lot. I think, like, you know, the anime has very big emotions, very loud, like, Kakame Inuyasha! Kakame Inuyasha! You know that stuff? A lot of screaming, a lot of very big emotions, very exaggerated facial features. You know, the eyes and face is very big. Also, some other aspects of anime that get exaggerated sometimes. So, you know, anime is known for that. And I think part of that is also done for the goal of showing ideals. Because I think a lot of the time anime presents very ideal conditions. I think I've talked about this before, but like there's a lot of times where like the main conflict is everyone is just too nice to each other. That's definitely part of what I'm saying. Where it's just like, hey, the conflict is everybody is nice and not communicating properly. But like, yeah, a lot of the ideals that I'm talking about that anime presents is like, you know, everyone is nice, or, you know, everything will work out, you know? Not that there's no conflict, but the conflict that there is can be resolved with a speech about friendship and the power of friendship, and I'm gonna shoot a giant laser beam at you, and then you're gonna be like, now I understand the error of my ways. I'm so sorry. Let's be friends now. You know, like that's clearly like ideal, right? An ideal way that conflict can be resolved, and not necessarily how it works in the real world, right? Again, I assume. I personally cannot shoot laser beams, but maybe that works for you. So, anyway, I also think this is... Hold on, I need to keep my place in the times. I think this is why anime helps people out of depression. Like, there's a lot of stories of people being like, you know, I was really depressed and anime really helped me through a dark time. That happened with me personally when I first got into anime. That's why I got into anime so hard. But yeah, and I think that's part of why anime helps people out of depression so much, because it helps visualize what an ideal situation or what happiness could even look like. Which, like, you know, if you're really depressed, just trying to imagine what things could be, how things could be better is very difficult, and anime is very good about that. Yeah, being like, you know, things are sad, but, you know, maybe I could shoot a laser beam at somebody and we could all be friends and work this out. But, like, yeah, even if the ideal can't be reached in real life, it's a pretty good goal to aim for, and you can get a lot closer than you think. Like, maybe you can't, like, resolve the argument with a laser beam battle. Maybe it's gonna be a little bit more complicated, but, you know, a lot of the time, maybe things kind of work out, you know, things can be closer to the ideal than, you think. I'm switching between you, I, and the royal we. Don't worry about it. So, what does that have to do about Kent? What does that have to do about this dumb harem show? I think that this is kind of what this anime does in terms of like the trans experience. Like, as I said before, you can't just put on a magical bracelet and transform into a girl and shoot fireballs and, you know, do that. But I'm just saying, I think most trans girls would agree that would be ideal. And again, anime handles things in terms of ideals and exaggeration to represent other ideas, right? So even if it's not literally about the about like the trans experience in real life, it can still kind of be about that. You can still, I don't think interpreting it that way is necessarily wrong per se, because of all the things I just said about ideals and exaggeration and different ways to interpret arts. But do I think that the author wrote this thinking about the trans experience? Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? I'm not the author. But looking at the show, probably not. Probably not. They were just thinking like, we needed more cute anime girls for our cute anime girl series, and we'll sell more copies if there's another anime girl on the cover. And I'm pretty sure that was pretty much the farthest that they thought. But just think about it. Just think about it. We don't know for sure. We don't know for sure. I don't know why I put that rant in at that point. But don't worry about it. Cause yeah, I have this like sandwich between whatever. So talking about the show in general, it is what I would describe as mainly an ecchi harem show with a bit of magical girl and rom-com thrown in. This was also kind of like before like battle harems became super popular. It was mostly like traditional like rom-com harems at this point. It wasn't until like more light novel adaptations started getting popular that more battle harems started to become really like a big thing. Asterisk War, I can't think of a good one. I can't think of a good one off the top of my head. Can just think of Asterisk War. I want to say Chivalry of a Failed Knight. Hold on. Chivalry of a... Is that the one I'm thinking of? Yeah, Chivalry of Failed Knight. That's pretty good. I probably have more on my list. Index? A certain magical index? Would you count that as like a battle harem show? I don't know. Anyway. But it's also interesting to note that this was based off of a light novel. So that's interesting. So that is one of the more early... It was during a time when light novel adaptations were a bit more scarce. But you wouldn't know it by looking at it, because it feels like it's just like one of those like manga adaptation, ecchi manga adaptations. And the only real magical girl thing is like, you know, living a double life and fighting transforming and fighting monsters. But you know what? To be fair, the show got a pretty good magical girl transformation sequence or Natsuru here. Like I don't know, I kind of like it. The show doesn't the show is overall pretty low quality. Like characters can't even stay on model like half the time. Like here. But, you know, for this magical girl transformation sequence, they were like, you know what? Let's just actually go ham. You know, I want to say that they had higher that why the show looks so jank is not necessarily people who worked on the show, but like producers and whatnot. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. That's more details about the actual show itself, but I liked it for that aspect at the very least. I think as far as like, you know, like a dumb ecchi harem show that's very 2000s core, like janky animation, very one-dimensional characters, cheesy voice acting, some royalty free ass sound and music, you know, some of these would say that that is a negative, but I kind of view that as a positive. It's just it just depends on the kind of vibe that you want to go for. If you like the kind of late 2000s janky ass animation, I appreciated it. Not that I wouldn't like the show to look better, but hey, you know, I appreciate what the show looks like. And I would say and also the cheesy voice acting. The voice acting is very cheesy. I know I've seen both the Japanese and the dub version. The most recent time my revisit for the show was mostly in the English dub, but I also I originally watched it in Japanese, and I also saw some scenes in Japanese too, just because I was like, hey, let's rewatch that scene in Japanese, because that's just things I do. And yes, the Japanese voice acting is not great. You know, I know. That's like a sacrilege for a weeb to say that Japanese voice acting is anything but perfect. But like, when you hear bad voice acting in anime, you can definitely tell. It's just not very common. The same thing goes for the English dub, but I will say in both the Japanese and English dub, the voice actors sound like they're having a good time. They know that what they're doing is dumb and stupid, but you know, they're having a good time. You can hear it in their voice that they are that they know what they are reading is stupid, but it is fun times. And they also kind of like play with voice acting a little bit. Like they sometimes refer to their voice actors like by name, like, oh my gosh, you have a voice that sounds like just like blah 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 blah. They're like, oh, thanks. And I'm like, wait, hold on, that is just the actual voice actor that voiced that character. What are we talking about? So yeah, it has a certain charm to it, okay? I will say, the backgrounds look kind of bad sometimes. Like, I can't quite put my finger on it, but there's just something about some of the, like, especially outside backgrounds that just look a little jank. Yeah, like this. This is what I was referring to. It looks like badly AI generated, but I know it's not AI generated because it was made in 2009. But there's like a really like washed out quality to it, and like kind of like they threw something together kind of quality to it. But again, I think it adds to the charm. Yeah, it's probably just nostalgia because I first got into anime during the times where a lot of this 2000s jank was very popular and not popular, but very widespread. So it might be nostalgia, but you know, it is, at the same time, it is also a nice change of pace from I've been watching a lot of like modern shows, you know? Like sure, something like Yuri on Ice, objectively speaking, looks a lot better and like well put together, you know? But there's a certain vibe of this that I appreciate. And again, the magical girl transformation sequence was just like really well animated for no reason. Also, something I appreciate about the dub, my notes are all over the place. I found that trying to go back and edit my notes, A, I spend way too long doing that, and B, I just end up adding more notes during that process. So, to try to keep it down, we're just gonna read the thoughts that I had as I was watching the show. But I will say, going back to the dub, they kept the honorifics in the dub. Thank you. There are subtitles nowadays that don't even bother with honorifics. With San and Kun and Chan. But Natsuru specifically calls Akane-chan. And it sounds really dumb and cringe when you say it out loud. But that's kind of the point. Is that kind of the point? they could at least put it in subtitles. I know that it sounds awkward spoken aloud in the middle of an English sentence, but I don't care. Don't baby it up for the kids. Don't gatekeep honorifics. Let them in. Let them in. But yeah, also in general with the people who dubbed this is Sentai Filmworks, and shoutouts to Sentai Filmworks, because listen, they don't often have like the best quality dubs. Like they don't have, I don't know, you won't see like Mike Mercer or whatever that Dom brings up all the time. That's in everything. But they do dub shows that are they do dub shows that are more niche. Like this show, for example, which I want to say they dubbed like somewhat recently, like 2019 or 2018 maybe, is when they dubbed the show. It definitely didn't have a dub when I watched it for the first time back in like 2011, 2012. But yeah, Sentai Filmworks, you know, the voice actors are good. And they pick up more niche shows that other companies don't pick up, and they also don't just use the same 4 voice actors from Texas. So watching this dub was also a change of pace, where I'm like, hey, I only recognize these voice actors from other works that Sentai dubbed. Like the only voice actress I recognized was Akane, was Misaka. But I didn't really recognize any of those. Oh yeah, you know what? The original reason I thought that this was like that I kind of at the beginning interpret this more as like a magical girl parody is because they have the talking magical animals that assist the girls on their adventure. But in this show, the magical girl talking animals are all plushies with their guts hanging out. I forget what it's called. Intestine plushie set or something. It's all plushies that have been killed. There's like electrocuted cat, immolated lion, stuff like that. Murdered tiger over here. I'm not sure actually what his name is. We can look it up real fast. Although we're gonna see the Japanese version. Kai Den Yamaneko. Electrocuted cat, yeah. That's not this character, though. Disemboweled tiger. And there's also, Seppuku rabbit, which they do actually call Seppuku Kuro Usagi. So again, there are instances of actual native Japanese using terms like seppuku and samurai instead of bushi and harakiri. What's the opposite of respectively? Counter respectively. You get what I'm talking about. Anyway, do I want to make a different title card for this? No, we'll keep it. Well, I'll just keep it in the spoiler-free intro. Yeah, I have a lot to say about it. Already talked a lot about gender, but let's talk about how gender is handled throughout the series. Again, mostly it's just used for, let's have another girl in here, and you know, if you think about it, this is the closest that we have gotten to a Yuri harem series. I think there are some Yuri harem like manga and light novels, but as far as anime is concerned, I want to say this might be the closest that we get, because there's a lot of like Yuri moments here. Do I say that? Yeah, I say that later. So you know what? We'll just go in order. But yeah, how gender is handled. There's a lot of focus on like a double life of girl not to do and boy not to do, kind of similar to Ranma. Now that I find it interesting that I watched this now after watching the remake of Ranma, and then I can go back to this and be like, oh yeah, you know, that was probably influenced by Ranma. A lot of, like, especially the way that they just call the two versions of the main character girl Natsudu and boy Natsudu, like girl Ranma and boy Ranma. I think that's definitely was a Ranma thing, as opposed to having like two different names for the main character. Although I guess for the main character, I guess it would make sense, which is probably the reason why Ranma did it, for just to only have the viewer have to memorize one name for the main character, even if it's a little awkward, and everyone's like, wow, you know, you almost look like the boy Ranma slash Natsudu from, you know, the over there. That's crazy, but you definitely can't be the same person, you know, and everyone is just an idiot like that and never put it together. Yeah. Just in case you're wondering, no, it is not chat that causes me to get so sidetracked and forget what I'm talking about. If anything, it's happening more now. But yeah, there's a lot of focus on, you know, Natsudu's double life of being boy Natsudu and girl Natsudu. And you know, in general, Natsudu is a lot more loved and liked and appreciated and has an overall better life being girl Natsudu than boy Natsudu. Because girl Natsudu is very, very popular with everybody and everybody loves her. While boy Natsudu is just like, you know, your average Joe. I'm pretty sure he has like sits in the back corner of the classroom, has a pervert best friend character, you know how it goes. So I'm just saying, I was Natsudu, I'm just saying. I think the choice is clear, and that also might be maybe something like, hey Natsudu, your life is, you know, your life is a lot better as a girl, so maybe, I don't know, man. Anyway, we also have the required bathroom scene that is a requirement for any gender bender anime. I have nothing more to say about that other than yes, it exists. I'm not sure exactly why every single gender bender has that. I mean, I guess that would be a thing that the main character would have to power through eventually, but I just feel like it's the same scene in every single one. This in Onimai, I'm just thinking specifically. But yeah, going back to how the show portrays gender, I I I just, okay, listen. They have a school that is co-ed, but they have a segregated school building between the men and women that has this big wall, the big bricked barbed wire wall that's separating the two halves. And there's one half that's the boy side and one half that's the girl side. And I just have to question, why? Why make one school and then have a hard security between both sides? Why not just have one boys' school and one girls' school? I know it's supposed to be like, oh, it's the forbidden girls side, that all the boys, you know, wanna something fantasizing the female gender or something to that effect. Did I put that into my notes? Oh yeah, no, that's literally the next note. Sorry. I wrote this in a somewhat, I like how I had the same train of thought both times when I was writing this and when I'm talking it right now. It's interesting how they glorify girls in a way with this separation, and also all the other usual ways that a show like this glorifies girls. A show that is aimed at young boys would. I'm trying to find an appropriate screenshot, but I got nothing. This. This I actually did not save a lot of the more risque scenes because I'm like, I don't want to get taken off of YouTube. So yeah, obviously, yes, they are playing into the fact that, like, oh, it's the forbidden girls side and they're glorifying and blah blah blah. But also, they take that concept and at the same time, the main character turns into a girl and then runs into all the, like, mundane, boring, everyday things that girls have to do. So in that way, the show also criticizes, normalizes that kind of view. Not normalizes that view, criticizes that view slash normalizes girls at the same time. That makes sense? So it's like, yeah, girls are pretty and forbidden and blah blah blah, a horny young boy thing, and but also at the same time gives a more female perspective and gives, like, shows that, like, yeah, girls are just people too. At the same time. Again, is that intentional or is that just an unintentional consequence of a thrown together plot? That is up to you. Plot contrivance. That is up to you to determine. Anyway, another thing that I find interesting is that Natsudu can't control when he turns back and forth between a boy and a girl. Which, as somebody who is currently questioning their gender and is currently thinking gender fluid, I can relate to that. Again, it was probably just for plot convenience. We need Natsudu to be X gender in this scene, so just make it so Natsudu can't control when they turn back and forth. But I'm just saying, it's I don't know. Like, there was, like, this one instance where Natsudu was meeting up with Akane, and Akane is like, oh, I see you're a girl today, and Natsudu's like, yeah, I just woke up as one this morning, is weird. So, hard relate. Again, probably unintentional, but, you know, representation is representation, whether intentional or not, so we'll take it, we'll take it. I need a drink of water. Have I already been streaming for an hour? Beep beep beep. I'm looking for another screenshot. I found a way to scroll for the screenshots without having to do this. It's like, you're a guy that turns into a girl and wears a maid costume, plus you're becoming a lesbian. So the other characters mock Natsudu. I don't know if I would say mock. They make fun of. They make comments about Natsudu being gay all the time, which is funny considering, like, they're saying to boy Natsudu that Natsudu is a lesbian. Have I ever mentioned that Natsudu's gender pronouns are confusing? Because I think I talk about this every single stream. I think I've talked about this the last, like, 3 or 4 anime discussions. Because there was, Tensai Akucho Deijo Tensai Ojisan, which had confusing pronouns, and also Ranma. And now we have this. That's only somewhat intentional. But yes, in Japanese, there's no third-person pronouns like he, she, they, them, stuff like that. So when you're dubbing a show or translating a show, it is interesting to see what certain shows choose to pick, what pronouns they choose to pick at any given time. But for this show, it seems to be random. I paid attention to, like, when they used X, Y, or X pronoun at Y time, and they seem to just kind of flip-flop between he and she all the time. they usually stick to using the pronoun associated with the gender that Natsudo is at the current moment. But sometimes, like, you know, like the plushies will be talking to boy Natsudo and be like, wow, she's kind of a lesbian, you know? Although I guess in that instance, that would make sense to say, she. But I don't know, the show kind of just flip-flops sometimes. I think, I think there's a lot of different characters that have a lot of different views of Natsudo's gender. Because definitely the plushies, are kind of like a more meta kind of character that they're the ones specifically that reference their voice actresses name by name, so they're the kind of more meta character that they kind of break the fourth wall sometimes. So like, what pronouns would they use, you know? I can see the dub running into problems with that, but I'm okay. But yeah, most of the time they just usually stick to the gender that Natsudo currently is, especially because of the whole, like, double life thing that I was saying earlier. But, like, when they're all just alone together in a room of people who know both sides of Natsudo, they just kind of tend to flip-flop on the pronouns. So that's funny. So if I end up flip-flopping on pronouns, that's why. Anyway, going back to lesbianism. They do say, like, I just pulled up a subtitle that said lesbian. Also, shoutouts to yellow subtitles. We love yellow subtitles in this household. I want to say that was an intentional choice, because I want to say that came with the dub that was released in 2019, but yellow subtitles were, like, big in, like, the early 2000s. So maybe it was an intentional choice to keep the 2000s vibe of the show, but we like yellow subtitles. They're easy to see outside of very rare instances where there's a yellow background, but there's more often white backgrounds. Anyway, the show kind of does say lesbian, and also there are just some characters who are just actual lesbians, like Akane is in love with girl Natsudo and not boy Natsudo, which is kind of like in Natsudo. And then, did I say Akane? Sakura? What the fudge is her name? I think I flip-flop between calling her Sakura and Kaede in my notes, but I think I mostly call her Sakura. The girl on the right that doesn't have the blue hair. Blue hair is main character. Not blue hair is not main character. But Natsudo has a crush on Sakura, but Sakura only likes the girl version of Natsudo and doesn't know about the other side, and Natsudo doesn't know how to say that, and shenanigans ensue. This is representation of the forbidden girl side. Anyway, not important right now. Okay, so, interesting thing about the translation of this show is in the Japanese version, they don't necessarily use, like, the direct translation of the word lesbian. They say, instead of saying, oh, you know, I'm not a lesbian, they say things like, oh, I'm not interested in things such as Yuri. They use the term, like, Yuri a lot. Where in the dub, they just straight up say lesbian, and this is strange because my interpretation of the word Yuri is that it's a more of a fandom word, or like it's a like manga, anime, video game kind of word, and not really used to talk about real people. But also knowing how jokey and weird this show is, the show might just be being meta by using the word Yuri to refer to what are real people in canon, but they know it's kind of in... They know it's in a show as well. So they might just be, is it breaking the fourth wall, or do they actually mean lesbian and are just skirting around the exact terminology? Because I know that's also something else that Japan likes to do. It's not just outright say labels like that. Like, I know, like, people will just say, oh yeah, you know, he's a type of person who likes other men, as opposed to, yeah, he gay. You know, Japan, and that's not necessarily because Japan doesn't necessarily have those terms, but just because Japan just likes talking around in circles around things like that, around sensitive topics. Which I prefer they be over, which, you know what, I kind of prefer being overly vague and tiptoeing around things and being very circular with your speaking, as opposed to being too direct and accidentally insulting people, which I end up doing it too much. So no, I need to brush up on my being Japanesey. I do not have that picture of a samurai standing in modern Tokyo saying, "I've become more Japanese than the Japanese." Anyway, but yeah, so basically my question is the show just being meta by using the word Yuri? And then referring to, like, is the show being meta and acknowledging each other? Is the show being meta? Bleh. Are the characters in the show being meta and acknowledging the fact that they're anime characters by saying the word Yuri? Or do they actually mean lesbian and are just skirting around the terminology? Because I want to say the latter. Because at least Sakura flat out just confesses her love for girl Natsudu in, like, the second episode. So I want to say it might be, you know what, knowing Japan, it might be a little bit of column A, it might be a little bit of column B. Also, dang it, I accidentally talked about gay things for during this podcast. When I said that we're done talking about gay things, we're talking about gender. Also, we'll go off side rants when I actually go into the show itself, because I'm sure there are things that I forgot and there are other quotes. Oh yeah, there are also more things that I want to say about gender that are in the show itself, but for the moment I will just say halfway through the series, and like it was like in an episode preview, they talk about how Natsudu is getting used to their body, saying things like, quote, she can even look at herself naked now without getting a nosebleed, which I also find interesting, that like because at the beginning of the show, like, Natsudu turned into a girl for the first time, so like it's interesting that like as the show goes on, that Natsudu is getting more and more like viewing their body as their own, and getting not immediately turned on by it, which is also just another interesting thing about, you know, someone who is assigned a male at birth and attracted to girls getting turned into a girl. But she's still that they're still attracted to women. Like, Natsudu is always attracted to other women. It's a harem show, okay? Don't get me wrong. But it's just their own body that they get used to, which is if you know, you know. I don't know. Could be a trans thing. I'm trying to think. Because there's no one in the chat, so if I start going off the rails, there's no Dom to be like, hey, are you crazy? Maybe dial it back a little bit, but I think that's not a super I choked and tried to say an expletive, and then I just kind of choked on water. Okay. I don't think that is a super uncommon. I don't think it's a common thing, but I don't think it's a super uncommon thing in the trans community for it to start out as like a sexual thing and a fetish thing and then evolve into an actual trans thing. So it's interesting how that kind of happened to Natsudu in this show. There, that's all I wanted to say. Meow, meow, meow. So yeah, that was the spoiler. Well, an hour into the stream. That was your spoiler-free intro. That wasn't actually too significantly longer than... Yes, cat? Do you need something? Kitty, it's okay. Are your drugs wearing off? I'll give you more drugs when I'm done streaming. You get it twice a day, okay? Kitty cat's on pain medicine. She wants more. She's an addict now. I can't believe it. Or that or she just crying because that's what she always does. No, she's fine. Hold on. Kitty cat, are you okay over here? I gave her a little pet, she's fine. I think she's also crying because I think she knows that I'm leaving. It's okay, kitty, I have people to take care of you. I'm getting you maid servants. It's okay, kitty. They'll probably take care of you better than I could. Anyway, so yeah, if you do not want to get spoils, this is your cutoff. I don't know if I could recommend this show because at the end of the day, like it does have a lot of very interesting gender things, but also at the end of the day, it is just a low quality 2000s harem anime. And if you're looking for something like that, there are several dozen better. There are a lot of better harem anime and also trans anime out there. So if that's what you're looking for, you probably should look elsewhere. But I mean, if a janky 2000s harem anime that has interesting takes on gender and might be an accidental trans experience kind of thing, if that sounds interesting to you, then I would if that sounds interesting to you at all, then yes, I would recommend it. It's only like 14 episodes, the standard 12 episodes, and then 2 extra OVAs. And the OVAs, okay, listen, I was gonna wait till the OVAs section, but it's not really a spoiler. The OVAs, the 2 OVAs that came out like over a year after the original series finished airing are like way higher quality and kind of like wrap up the plot. So I want to say that they really wanted a second season and they wanted to make the show better, but just because of budget, money, producers, whatever, they just couldn't. So the season 1 looks kind of janky, and season 2 is just 2 episodes that they tried to make as looking good as possible. And it really upsets me that those 2 episodes that the rest of the series doesn't look as good as those last 2 episodes, but whatever. But yeah, anyway, if a janky 2000s harem anime that has a lot of potential, probably accidental things to say about gender and the trans experience, if that concept interests you at all, yeah, go ahead and watch it. If you're looking for a good anime about harems or the trans experience, then there are probably a lot better ones out there. There are definitely better ones out there. But hey, if you want both at the same time, I don't know where else you can go. What is anime if not very extremely niche things like this? What is the appeal of anime other than the fact that you can find very niche appeal things like this? At least for another 100 years when another trans harem anime comes out. But in the year 2025, this is what we got. Okay, we are now officially talking. I'm just double checking to make sure that the stream is actually working. Because it's been a while since I've gone this long without anyone in chat. But it happens. Yeah, okay. It's fine. Shoutouts to VOD watchers, shoutouts to lurkers. So I don't know if YouTube properly counts lurkers. Yeah, it says I've been getting a viewer here and there, so I'm not sure. It says I have 14 views already, so I think it just happens. And again, these videos in general have a lot of VOD watchers. Which shoutouts to you. I hope you enjoy. I definitely do a lot of effort to try to make it appealing as a podcast by explaining myself the best I can without visuals and also time-stamping things and yada yada yada. Anyway, the spoiler-free intro is officially done. If you want if you want to watch the show without any spoilers and you haven't already, this is your last chance. So yeah, we're just gonna go through the show and say what happens. First of all, we have a Naruto run. Or a Sonic run. But yeah, so we're just gonna go for the screenshots and I will explain what happened and tell you anything funny that happens in between or that happens that I thought was noteworthy. But like most of what I had to say about the show, I've already said. It was more because I have a lot to say about the concept of the show, but as for the actual plot of the show, there's not a lot of plot. There is not a lot of plot outside of the initial premise, so I might not have a whole lot to say here, but we'll see what we can do. But yeah, it starts with a cold opening of girl Natsudu running through this park being shot at. And you're like, what the fudge is going on here? And I don't know if you've seen the prompt, then it's fine. Like, cold openings are weird because I like starting things in the middle of something, but this is kind of like a fake cold opening because then afterwards we just immediately go into exposition, but so it's kind of just a more cynical cold opening of just like, you know, hook your attention in the first like 30 seconds. But I don't know. I like cold openings, but I like cold openings better when you actually go off the cold opening and then get exposition as you go, as opposed to do the cold opening, scene break, now we're doing exposition. Like the cold opening is just there as a cold opening. I like it when it's like more integrated into the plot. You know, I lied. Apparently I do have things to say about the actual show itself. But yeah, because it does the opening, and I like how it shows the two versions of the Kämpfer version of everyone, and then the non-Kämpfer version of everyone. And like, the girl on the right, Mikoto? Is it really Mikoto and not the girl actually voiced by Mikoto that voices Mikoto in the other series? She like barely had like any scenes, which is why I don't remember her. I guess my guessing is that she had more importance later. Mikoto Kondo, yes. Because in the OVA, she had like a whole episode, but so that was the end. They referenced the fact that she did not have a lot of screen time in the season in the anime proper. Anyway, so Natsu's like, oh my gosh, I woke up and now I got boobs. That's crazy. Also, another interesting note is that in the Japanese version, both girl and boy Natsudu just have the same voice actress, and for boy Natsudu, she tries to do a boy voice, but doesn't try that hard, where in the English dub, they do have just two voice actors. And I'm not sure which one I like more. Because ideally, it would be one voice actor with range, but if I have to choose between one voice actor that does not try to have any range versus two voice actors, I'm not sure. But yeah, here's what I was saying about how, like, this anime is very janky and nothing can ever stay on model. You know what? This doesn't look even that bad. But this is literally, like, the first effing scene past the cold opening. Where, Disemboweled Tiger or whatever explains. Also, I was talking earlier about how in Ranma, I thought that both boy and girl Ranma had equally good designs, where I kind of don't... I kind of don't feel that at the same time, because boy Natsudu looks like a generic harem protagonist, but girl Natsudu actually has like an interesting and well thought out design and looks good. But that might have been intentional, being like, you know, because again, this is a harem show, so the main character looking like the main character of a harem show kind of makes sense. So that might have been intentional. So it's either bad character design or accidentally good character design, and I cannot tell you. Yeah, here's just like the background's looking a little... They just like kind of look a little fuzzy. A little too fuzzy and smooth at the same time. Like, the characters do not look like they belong in the background. I know that's a very, like, broad criticism, and some people say that, and I'm like, hey, that's the kind of the point, like, the fudge was it? I think it was Seraph of the End, where the characters are very, like, sleek and, modern looking, where the backgrounds are, like, dystopian and, like, old-timey looking. And they're like, the characters don't even look like they fit in the backgrounds, but I feel like for that show, that's kind of an intentional design choice, where for this show, like, no, it looks like Natsuru's standing on a green screen. It doesn't look good, and I don't think the contrast is supposed to be there, like Seraph of the End. But I also might just be giving Seraph of the End too much screen time. What? It wouldn't be a harem anime without the main character going, what? That's crazy. Is that an explosion? But yeah, as I said before, main character is in love with Kaede Sakura. I think they mostly call her Sakura, so we're just gonna call her Sakura. She is the seemingly not involved love interest character, and also does not ever join the harem, or at least does not join the harem off the bat. Kind of, it's complicated, don't worry about it. Anyway, so Natsudu and Sakura are talking, and then Natsudu's bracelet starts to glow, and as I said before, Natsudu's like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna turn into a girl, I can't stop it, and then runs away, and then gets attacked by this other mysterious Kämpfer, and then has to transform, which again, very unneedlessly good transformation sequence. Like, it does a whole ass rotation, like a whole camera rotation, which in anime is not an easy thing to do. Also, hi mouse cursor, I have you visible partly intentionally. Although, if I want to show off anything particular, I can just kind of zoom in. But who knows, man. Boo boo! I like this part with the boob window, with that's not on the actual outfit, it's just part of the transformation, that's fun. Pew! But yeah, there's 3 types of Kämpfer. Sword fighters, gunners, and fireball shooters, or magic users. This is not super relevant, other than everyone has those basic 3 weapons. So, Akane over here clearly has a gun. Which I feel like a gun, it would be way more useful than the ability to slowly shoot a fireball, but it's anime, so people can just dodge bullets all the time. Where fireballs kind of hit or move very slow, but actually hit their targets more often than not. Like, she had to physically jump out of the way, other than just kind of be like, oh, and then you dodge the bullet. Okay, I know this is like an ecchi anime moment, but like, okay, so she's about to get hit by this falling over telephone pole, and Natsudu jumps out of the way, even though she's trying to kill her. Hold on, before that, Akane has a line. Okay, because the whole gimmick, they seem to have, okay, listen, they sometimes have this, but they dropped it very early on about how there's a large disparity between the Kämpfer version of the person and the non-Kämpfer version of the person. Because obviously we have Natsudu turning from a boy to a girl, but Akane is like a sweet glasses girl in non-Kämpfer version, and is like a redhead, like potty mouth in the Kämpfer version. Did I say Kämpfer? Again, I apologize if I miss up that pronunciation. But anyway, so she has a potty mouth, and at one point, angry Akane is telling not to do her name, and she's like, my name's Akane, and you can take that straight to hell, because I'm gonna carve it into your big fat ass for the devil himself to slap like a bitch. Which is a goddamn raw line, I'm not gonna lie. And also, the segment for the devil himself to slap like a bitch was the dub added in that last part. So the dub took a great line and added it even more. Because potty mouth Akane calls Natsuru's ass fat a lot. Just funny. Which is, I never got that impression, but I gave them the benefit of the doubt because low quality anime. But okay, so what I was saying before about, can somebody explain to me how I know it's just ecchi anime moment, but Akane was about to get hit by this telephone pole. Natsudu jumped to grab her to throw her out of the way, and when the dust settled, they were like this. They were like ass to face. How did you get from tackling someone to your face being in their ass kind of in position? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's an ecchi anime, that's why. I'm trying to remember what ecchi is short for. Is it erotic? I know it's supposed to be erotic, but Solaris looks up linguistics instead of talking about anime, the stream again. Also, how do you Romanize ecchi? Not ecchi, right? No. Ecchi. It's short for H. Indecent, lewd, sexy, dirty, obscene. See also hentai. How did hen, I guess, starts with an H, but how do you get, maybe it's just short for H. Ecchi, 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 ecchi. Chibi anime. Okay, I guess, again, how have I been an anime fan for like 15 years and I'm just now questioning this? I always thought it was, I think I just automatically assumed it was short for erotic, but now that I think about it out loud 15 years later, that doesn't make sense. But I think it's, ecchi is supposed to be Japanese for H, ecchi, ecchi, and H is short for hentai, which does mean, pervert. Which is weird because in English, hentai is always referring to pornography, where in Japanese, hentai just means perverted, where ecchi, actually mostly refers to, actual sexual content. So they call, so in English you would call pornographic manga hentai, but in Japan you would call it ecchi manga. So there you go, there's your linguistic lessons for the day. There's your Japanese lesson for the day. Anyway. So Akane is like, whatever, maybe I might not kill you since, you know, you saved my life. And then Sakura's like, who was that beautiful young woman earlier? And she was like, oh my gosh, you're so cool and pretty and I love you. And yeah, don't worry, we'll get to that later. Anyway, another tell that this is a 2000s anime is that they have a perv best friend character that has literally no plot significance. I'm pretty sure I saw him like in the first episode and like the last episode. Like, I don't even remember this dude's name and I don't care to look it up because he's just the perv best friend character. You know, if you've seen 2000s anime, you know that every anime gotta have the perv best friend character for absolutely no reason. But yeah, here we see that Akane is a timid little sweetheart when she's not a Kämpfer, which again, they only really have for Natsudu and Akane. Like all the other Kämpfer that we see in the series don't really have a personality shift or any sort of other shift when they turn into a Kämpfer. They just turn into a Kämpfer. Like, I don't know. So maybe that was an idea that they had early on and just kind of dropped it. Don't worry about it. Anyway, here's another scene of the main character going, another tell that this is, I think Akane is like, I want to talk to you in private. And Natsuru's like, the thing. Listen, if you've seen enough anime, there's things like when you see things like that, you're like, hey, it's the thing. and other people and people who are not in the know are like, what thing? And you're like, it's the thing that happens all the time in this situation. And I'm like, what exactly is the situation? I'm like, you know, it's the situation. You know what it is. It's the situation where the main character goes, with the perv best friend character. Not the perv best friend character does not have anything to do with it. But it's that same line where like every anime gotta have that. Every anime of this type gotta have that. Anyway, here are the eye catchers. Is you have a girl with clothes on, and then you have a girl in a bikini. Which they don't show the with clothes on for very long. Like, you can see that it's like, I caught it as soon as I could, and it's still somewhat transparent. So don't worry about it. Anyway, this is the part where they break the fourth wall and refer to the bunny's voice actor by effing name. Yukari. They're like, oh, you have a voice that sounds like Yukari. Except that, unlike Yukari, she has a foul mouth. And then in the foreground, they have a character flipping through a magazine about her. And it says, this article is fiction. Fiction. Kono kiji wa fiction desu. This article is fiction. Because that's what that says. Or whatever, I don't know, man. But then they never bother to do that again. And then in the dub for the last episode, they don't even call the voice actor by name. So I don't know, man. Don't think about it too hard. Don't think about it too hard. But yeah, they do the same thing to all the, like, immolated animals, all the tortured animals, all the dead animals. I really wish I could remember what they are actually named. Hopefully I have it somewhere later in my notes. But yeah, they're being watched by a mysterious person. Oh my gosh. She has normal hair here, and now she has two-toned hair. By the way, yes, I thought the inner hair color being different from the outer hair color like this was more of a modern anime thing. So it is interesting to see it here, because that's a very common, like, modern anime design. You know that it's a modern anime design because you see it on a lot of VTubers. I don't have it. I just have, like, 2 strands of hair that are different color, but you know what? Like this, like where the inner hair is a different color from the outer hair. I do like it. It's just interesting that this is like a 2009 show and it's here when was not common. This show has a lot of things that became more common after this show aired. So I wonder if a second season would have been more popular. Good question. Beep, beep, beep. We have the bathroom scene. Where the fudge are my notes in this? I mean, I have each episode labeled. This is the end of episode 1, where Sakura is like, yeah, cool, boy Natsu's cool and all, but can you introduce me to the girl Natsu? She's like way cooler. Like, can we like go on a date or something? And then boy Natsu's like, you can work out something to that effect. And then again, hilarity ensues as his crush is interested in the girl version of him, but not the boy version. And that is actually very Ranma coded. That's also another thing that happens very often in Ranma. And then there's another, I forget where this conversation happens. I forget exactly where this conversation happens. Like, they get attacked in the library, and then yes, kitty cat? I think they get attacked again. You know what? I might have lied about the spoiler-free intro being half the section, because I'm yapping a lot during this section as well. But you get the idea. Let me double-check Twitter and Discord to make sure that my chat isn't broken. Or that something horrible hasn't happened. Because again, I don't mind that people aren't here, but I do this with one viewer, I don't care. I even if I only got one VOD view, as long as I'm entertaining somebody, I'm fine with that. You know what? I'm also fine with that if I'm literally screaming into the void. Okay. I have no messages saying your stream chat is broken. Anyway, Natsu has a line that I thought was noteworthy, where he says, what's up with Sakura falling in love with a girl Natsu? Do girls seriously fall in love with other girls? And Akane's like, I don't know anything about that. I'm like, yeah, that's a thing that happens, Natsu, don't worry about it. Because again, in at least the dub, in the English translation of the show, they do just say that Sakura is a lesbian, and even in the Japanese version, they heavily imply such by Sakura looking at Natsu directly in the female Natsu directly in the eyes and saying, I'm in love with you, please go out with me. So again, have not directly stated, but heavily implied that she is a lesbian. Yeah. But anyway, Sakura passes out. I'm not sure what caused this. I think it was another attack by the other mysterious Kämpfer that we don't know. But girl Natsu has to take Sakura over to the Forbidden Girls section. Da 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 da. That's not the right jingle. Kitty cat, what are you looking at? I'm almost out of water. Maybe I should stop screaming all the time. Although that's never gonna happen. But yeah, I talked about this in the intro, about how maybe the word is the word fetishize appropriate here? Fetishize the female gender, or glorify? They glorify and normalize the female gender at the same time. Because again, it's a harem show. It's an ecchi harem show, an H show. You know, I definitely put that together, because there's a show called So What If I Can't Play H? And H meaning ecchi. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm already had this revelation several years ago, and I forgot, and now I'm having it again. Also, hi, kitty cat. Okay, I did not stop the replay buffer. Anyway, but then at the same time, they have the main character be a girl a lot of the time and talk about the girl experience. So who knows, man. And I love how they got a Berlin Wall allegories here, with the wall dividing the two sides of the school, having very anti-war messages, hippie messages on them, which I think is funny. There's also there was like, oh, I heard a story one time about how a secret group tried to tunnel under one time. It's like, what the fudge is going on here? Is this supposed to be like a war analogy? Is this supposed to be like a meta commentary on something? Is this show even deeper than I thought? Because I already think it's deeper than it probably is with the trans allegories, but allegory might not be metaphors, but with the I already think the show is deeper than it probably already is with the trans metaphors, but does it also have war metaphors? Because also we're gonna get into something in a second that also might back that claim up. I don't know why I'm making clips. I am going on break, but I don't know, I might make the clips when I get back. Or when I end my break, whatever, you get the idea. So why does the school look like this? Like, that's the only environment that stands out. Because all the other environments are very much like, you know, it's a school, I guess. Except for this, like, balcony that's in the library. Okay, I don't know. There's, like, most of the time the backgrounds just look like school or Japan, you know? But sometimes they just kind of, the school specifically looks like a weird place that has this like security fence and this like Berlin Wall and this like weird mirrored tower kind of thing. Like, I don't get it. Also, here's a fun game of spot the main character. I always like scenes like that. Oh yeah, they get called to the student council's office, president's office, and of course it's set up like an effing royal palace or something, and she's in a big fancy office chair. Don't worry about that. But she's just like, I'm keeping my eye on you. Anyway, Sakura wants to talk to female Natsudu, and yes, kitty cat? She wasn't even looking at me when she meowed. She just stared up into the ceiling and went, "Rah!" Okay, that time she looked directly at me. What is it, kitty? What is it? I'm talking about anime. You're too far. I can't pet you. Come back. Come back. I'll pet you. Come back. I'll pet you. I think she's just doing that for fun. I don't even think she wants attention at this point. Anyway, Sakura is like, I want to go on a date with you, and female Natsu's like, I don't know, what do I do, Akane? It's like, well, you want to go out with her? Well, I want her to go out, be in love with the male version of me, and I'm like, well, listen, as I said before, Natsu, if your life is so much better being a girl, then maybe... Anyway... So Natsu goes out and tries to... Akane's like, hey, try to make the female Natsu look bad, so then the boy Natsu will look better by comparison, and then that's how we can solve your problem. So girl Natsu tries to do a dumb, funny dance in front of Sakura, but it's not Sakura there anymore, it's the evil Kämpfer, and she's a red Kämpfer. Because how Natsu and Akane stopped fighting earlier. I'm doing a very bad job of being a plot synopsis here. Listen, I've said my piece about this show. But you get the idea. And if you haven't seen the show, I'm doing a bad job of summarizing it. But basically, there are blue Kämpfer and red Kämpfer, and those are the two teams that are fighting each other. So she has a blue bracelet, and Natsu has a blue bracelet. So they're on the same team. So that's why they stopped fighting. But she has an evil red bracelet. Kitty, what do you want? People are gonna think I'm abusing you, which I'm not, for the record. Kitty, come here. Come here. Come here. Let me pet you. Do you want attention? Meow, meow. This effing cat, I swear. Anyway. Do I not have any screenshots of the big fight? That's crazy. Because I'm already... This is episode 3, and the big fight was at the end of episode 2. Anyway, they have a big fight, and Natsuru is asking... fudge, what's her name? She's the character that got the most... Shizuku. This is Shizuku Sango. Because Shizuku is, like, the character that gets, like, the most amount of screen time out of all the girls. Well, actually, maybe it just... Well, yeah, no, it's definitely... Out of the screen time, it's Shizuku, everybody else, and then Mikoto at the bottom. Hi, kitty. Come here. What do you want? Do you need something? You have food and water. You have availability to your litter box. Because sometimes she'll do this, and then, like, oh, her water's broken. But no, she's good. She's fine. Anyway, so they're fighting each other, and Natsu asks Shizuku, like, why are you fighting us? What reason is there to fight? And they're like, and she's like, we're not told the reason that we need to fight. We're just Kämpfer and we need to fight, you know? So I'm gonna keep fighting, and like, yeah, the very war analogies here with the Kämpfer being forced to fight each other from orders on high up for reasons they don't understand. And Kat, I'm trying to make a serious point. Please stop crying. What do you want? I'm talking about war, kitten. You're removing the gravitas that this topic requires. Oh, she's mad that I packed up. She knows. Because she's standing where my dresser used to be, and she's crying. Kitty, it's okay. It's okay. I'll be back to visit. Anyway, very war analogies. The Kämpfer being have orders from higher up to fight each other for reasons they don't understand. And an anime having anti-war messaging? That's crazy. I've never heard of that before. So anyway, so they beat Shizuku, and they have an opportunity to kill her, and Natsuru's like, no, let's not kill her. We're not those kind of people. And Shizuku's like, you know what, I hated the whole idea of having to fight each other for no reason, so you know what, just to piss off the higher ups, I'm gonna not fight you. But in order to keep the existence of the Kämpfer a secret, Natsuru has to transfer to the girls section for some reason. So that's what begins episode 3. I don't know. Okay? I literally don't know. I don't know why. Why this... But they're like, oh yeah, you know, there's these rumors of a mysterious girl happening, and in order to keep the secret of a Kämpfer, you have to, you know, make the girl seem like a normal person, I guess? I don't know. So anyway, Natsu transfers to the girls section, into the hidden garden. Himitsu no Hey Hanaya? I know those two kanji mean flower and then garden. And then the first two kanji means Himitsu or secret. So secret flower garden. But you get the idea. Or Lilie in German. Can we get a confirmation of that? Lilie. Lilie. Or just Lily. Maybe it's supposed to, maybe that's, cause, okay, all the titles have like a German version and a Japanese version, and I thought they lined up, and I think they often do, but these don't. So I think this is a reference to Yuri. Like, because in Japanese, Yuri is Lily? Kitty cat, do you need something? Yes, Lily. Yuri is Lily. So it's all the same. It's all the same word. Anyway, afterwards, also interesting that they spell Natsu in katakana, which is usually for like non-Japanese words. Because the first part of their name, Seno, is written in kanji, so I don't know, man. Anyway, so Natsudu transfers to the girl's side, and then Kitty, do you need help? I know, I'm being very distracted by this cat right now. Okay, I think she's going to bed. Nope, she's just going to bed and then crying on the bed. Kitty, it's okay. Kitty, I'm almost done. I know it doesn't seem like I'm almost done, but I'm almost done. It's okay, kitty cat. Be nice to Puddles. Be nice to my IKEA shark. She's being rude to my IKEA shark. Puddles, my IKEA shark. Anyway, so Natsudu becomes the most popular girl in school, and this is where it kind of turns into a Yuri harem, because all the girls are like, oh my gosh, you're so pretty, oh my gosh, can I have your number, are you like, and then Sakura takes Natsudu out and then straight up confesses her love. She looks at, as I said before, she looks at Natsudu in the eyes and says, I'm in love with you, please go out with me. Kitty! This is she is just being particularly bad because I think she is upset that she doesn't like change. I know, kitty cat. I don't like change either. Change is scary. It's okay, kitty. That I change things in the room, and she's very upset about that. I think that's all that it is. Yeah, she's going back to sleep soon. I know, there was like a Shadow Generation stream where she was like meowing for like a solid 2 hours, like the last 2 hours of the stream. And I was watching that back, and like during the stream, I was just tuning it out because like I think I had like the headphones on or something. But in the stream, like she was very loud and it was not easy to tune out. Anyway, so yeah, Sakura is just a straight up lesbian, and I don't know, Natsudu doesn't get that through his head for some reason. Again, just be a girl, Natsu. It'll, like, maybe it's supposed to be like a thing where it's like, you know, even if life is easier being a girl, if Natsudu doesn't want to be a girl, then he doesn't have to. Maybe that's what it's trying to... Or maybe, again, there's probably no thought. I'm probably looking too much deep into this. But it's probably just like, uh-oh, my crush is in love with me, but, record scratch, the wrong version of me. I'm sure that's all it is, and there's no further need for any further interpretation. But still. And then also, in mid-confession scene, Natsudu's bracelet starts glowing and she starts transforming back into a guy beyond her control, which is funny. She's like, that's very... So basically her reaction to the confession is, that's awesome, I'll be right back. And then Akane gets mad hearing on this, and then they have a funny moment where she's hanging Natsudu over the roof, and then they put in a really realistic art style, and then it's like, holy crap, that's not funny anymore. It's too real. But yeah, I also like this character that gets like 2 scenes. It's the head of the like school newspaper club that's like interviewing Natsudu. And I think that at this point she's like, oh, do you have any dark secrets you don't want to tell anyone? And she's like, the whole Kämpfer thing? No, she's like, and the other girl's like, oh, so you do have a secret. Again, we don't need a scene-by-scene basis. But yeah, this is Sakura and Girl Natsudu hanging out, and Girl Natsudu's thinking like, wow, you know, even though it's not like the real me, quote unquote, it's still nice to hang out with Sakura like this. And then she gets hand-fed. And then Shizuka comes in, and at this point, I don't know what the fudge I don't know what Shizuka's motivations are at this point, but she comes in and says and makes things really complicated by saying that boy Natsudo and girl Natsudo are going out together, and this puts a lot of wrinkles into plans. And then Sakura's like, you know what? I'm gonna win girl Natsudo back. You can't beat girl Natsudo back. You can't take girl Natsudo back from me. So yeah, she ends up hating boy Natsudo and being in love with girl Natsudo, which now that I've seen Ranma 1/2 is very Ranma 1/2 coded. But yeah, like what I said in Ranma, I like when characters have very different relationships to the two genders of the main character. It is very fun. Oh hey, remember when I said that the main character probably has the corner desk? Yeah, there it is. One back from the corner, but a corner enough. Meow 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 meow. See, I gotta do my own meows. Cause the cat stopped. The cat stopped and I have Stockholm syndrome. Anyway, episodes 4 to 6. There is like, okay, why I still don't understand this school, because they have like a newspaper about what's happening on the girls' side, but like if the girl and boy sides cannot interact at all, then why do they care? I don't understand. Don't understand. But yeah, you're not the newspaper is like, oh yeah, these the three most popular girls on the girls' side are entering the beauty pageant. And Natsudo is like, wait, what the fuck? And then transforms into a girl and then runs over. Look at the barbed wire fencing on this. You don't have to be that. Why not just make two separate schools at that point? They said that the two schools weren't originally co-ed, that the school was a girls only school until it became co-ed, and then so they made a co-ed school, but they decided to split it in half and have the fudging security gate. Like, why? There's also like a censor at this scene. Natsudo's like, oh man, boys are strictly forbidden on the girls' side, but since I'm a girl now, it should be fine. So implies that this scanner has this laser gate has some sort of gender scanner. That just makes me confused. I don't get that at all. Anyway, I know Shizuku is just fucking around just to get to be a part of the harem, but at this point, like, she barely knows Natsudo, other than Natsudo decided not to kill her that one time. And I guess as far as that whatever, don't worry about it, don't think about it too much. Anyway, we got a fudging beauty pageant arc, don't worry about it. Again, the school's oddly fancy looking. Like, that's a very distinct design for a school for an anime, as opposed to just being a cube. I like how her hair glows. Also, quick question. Why is boy Natsudo in class? How does that work? Because in the last episode, Natsudo, like, girl Natsudo, like, came in as a transfer student. So, are boy and girl Natsudo going to class? How does that work? Do both of the sides go to school? Like, do they have really bad attendance? Like, how does that work? Because anime seems to imply that, you know, not showing up to school for months at a time is just kind of not seen as a problem. Sometimes, except when it is. I don't know. Don't think about it too much. No, you know, don't think about that. You know what you do need to think about? They're going motherfucking bra shopping! But yeah, this is where so Shizuku basically tricks Natsudo into agreeing to go to the beauty pageant, and then Akane and Natsudo go bra shopping, because they have it explained that Natsuru's clothes transform when she does the transformation, but only the, like, school uniform transforms. So, like, I guess that kind of makes sense. Also, I don't know why we had this, like, aha, I told you, you're a two-timing, you don't really love girl Natsuru. I think that was the only reason for this. That, and also it's a harem anime. But that's where the scene happened, where, Akane's like, oh, I see you're a girl today, and Natsuru's like, yeah, I just woke up as one this morning. And I'm like, I feel it, mood. Anyway. They go bra shopping at the vague lingerie, as opposed to the, specific lingerie. And I had to cut out, I did not have a lot of screenshots for this section, but this is all I got. They do bra shopping, and it's a harem anime, so you can see that this happened. So you can see what happened. And at this point in the story, Natsuru is still aroused by her own body. So you can see, you know, that shenanigans ensued. And then also Shizuku shows up for some reason, so all three of them are in the dressing room at some point. Like, don't worry about it. Listen, I know I'm trying to like dress this anime up as something being a lot more than what it actually is, but I am under no misconception of what it actually is. Okay, Kitty Cat is going back to sleep. She just wanted to run around and cry for a while. I don't like change. 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 Okay, anyway. Okay, so then after they go bra shopping, they meet up with Sakura Kaede. Sometimes I think Shizuku calls her Kaede, where Natsuru always calls her Sakura. But not with Chan. It's specifically Akane that Natsuru calls Akane-chan. Like, don't worry about it. What just exploded outside? Anyway, during the dub of the karaoke scene, the dub just used the Japanese audio for the singing sections, except for Akane's part. Akane's voice actor did actually sing in Japanese, so shout out to her. You know what? I've mentioned her name several times, so let's actually just look up her name. Brittany Karbowski. And am I correct in the fact that she voices Misaka? I don't know. Yes. She voices all the Misakas, including Last Order and this whatever. You listen, there's a lot of Misakas in Index. If you don't know Index, don't worry about it. Go watch Index and Railgun. Okay, I can't explain it. We don't have time to explain it here. Either way, shout outs to that voice actress. I've already forgotten her name, but I said it out loud, so it's good. But yeah, at some point, Natsuru starts transforming back into a boy, and then is like, this would be really awkward because I'm on a date with Sakura. And then, she's like, hey, I usually transform into a Kämpfer when there's other Kämpfer around, so can you transform into a Kämpfer? And, Shizuka it's kind of just a troll throughout this entire series. She's like, oh, I don't know, I might be able to do that. And then she just does it. I like the weird glowy blue effect that they have for the transformation. It's fun. Also, at some point, they're just fighting, and then Natsuru just in the corner, like, I'm so sick of this. Anyway, Beauty Pageant arc. It's like a one episode, but they hype it up. Yeah, don't worry. Okay. Because it's like a school festival, the boys are like, this is our opportunity to sneak into the girls' side, and then a bunch of girls show up in military uniforms and gun them down. Like, that was weird. That was a weird section. I think they say that they're like not like they're like not real guns, but like still that looked like it hurt. And they dress up as maid outfit, maid cats. And Natsu's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm doing this. And I'm like, don't threaten me with a good time. What are we talking about? Anyway. Akane being part of Natsuru's harem, is very defensive about with Natsu and is like, there's no way girl Natsu would ever be a lesbian. And then Sakura starts crying, and then boy Natsu, who has absolutely zero brain cells, which is just I mean, listen, I know harem protagonists don't have a lot of brain cells, but Natsu is particularly stupid because throughout this whole series, but specifically here because this would be the perfect time to be like, but I, boy Natsu, still love you. But no, Natsu cheers Sakura up by saying like, oh, you know, I'm sure Akane didn't mean that. I'm sure, you know, I'm sure Natsu is just, you know, unsure about her sexuality at this point in her life, you know? Don't give up on her just yet. And then Sakura's like, oh, yes, you know, thank you for the advice, but don't worry, I'm not gonna be so, I'm still your rival. Don't worry about it. But like, why did you say that, Natsu? What was your goal? Why does the cat scream? Why? Why wouldn't the cat scream? If you knew, you would be screaming too. Anyway, for the actual beauty pageant itself, I don't have a lot to say about it, but it was really dumb and I loved every second of it. It was like, it turned into like a school play, an improv school play that had a lot of like dumb twists and turns and plot twists, and it was really funny because it was like, and they also had a lot of like other anime references because they referred to Natsu as a revolutionary girl. And also fudging Lelouch just shows up at some point. Yeah, okay, so we have Natsu here, dressed up as a prince, and then Sakura comes as like a princess, and is like, oh, our two kingdoms are fighting, but we have to make peace. And then, also I love when, background, or when future important characters show up in the background in the previous episode of when they're relevant. Anyway, so like, we have to make peace, and they're about to kiss, but then the cowboy shows up, and then starts to fight them, and they're like, I'll never let you hurt Sakura, and then the reporter girl is dressed up as a bunny for some reason, and then Natsu's clothes start to fall apart, but then, oh my gosh, it's Lelouch from Code Geass shows up to save the day! Like, what the fudge is this show? Anyway, so Shizuka ends up kissing Natsu. after that happened. I'm not I can't explain how the fudging that happened, but yeah. At this point in my notes I have at this point, hold on. I need water after that. Okay, so in my notes I still have, I don't 100% understand Shizuku. She's definitely into Natsu, but just kind of does things. But I guess, like, yeah, she's like, oh, yeah, you know, Natsu's like, oh, thank you for, you know, bailing me out in that improv play back there, because I didn't know what the fudge I was doing, and you helped clarify, like, smooth things out by showing up as goddamn Lelouch from Code Geass, I guess. And she's like, you can thank me by giving me a kiss, and then just straight up kisses him. Like, don't worry about it. But Shizuku, viewing this as a harem show, I think Shizuku might be the best character. Just because she is straight up upfront about what she wants and is very, assertive. I was looking for that word. I didn't want to say aggressive. Assertive. Which is a breath of fresh air from all the other girls who are like, oh, I kind of like you, but I don't know. But she's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna give you a kiss. and then straight up tries to do with him later on. And then afterwards, you have Natsu like, what? But yeah, anyway, this is also from earlier. I know this is the rare instance where my screenshots are out of order. It doesn't really matter, but I always try to keep them in order. But I like when a character appears in the background of a random shot, and then they turn out to be an important character later on. Because we finally get introduced to the last girl of the harem, which is Mikoto. Which, again, why even introduce her if she's not going to do anything? Because she's around... She's introduced, like, half at the end of episode 6, and then, like, doesn't do anything. Actually, no, she's introduced in episode 6, because I want to say... Yeah, episode 5 is the school play beauty pageant thing, and then episode 6 is the Mikoto episode. So she's introduced, like, halfway through, and then doesn't do anything, so I really don't understand the writing process behind that character, other than I guess you need more than 2 girls in the harem, I suppose. But yeah, she's also in this scene. It was like in this establishing shot at the beginning of episode 5, and I think this is her? I can't tell, but this looks like the same outfit that was in here, with like orange and pink and like red colors, and that's kinda you orange, pink, and red colors. I could be crazy, but that doesn't look like a random background character. That looks like a significant character. And I also want to say she said something in the background. Anyway, I like it when future important characters are foreshadowed early. This is a very obvious ploy of it, because again, we have a shot that is spot the main character, but this is a shot that only happens for like a second and a half, so it's easy to miss. And this shot is especially easy to miss. So you know what? Subtle foreshadowing done well. So anyway, she was abroad up until now, and so she's obsessed with making curry, I guess. Which kind of, it makes sense if you don't think about it. If you think about, oh yeah, curry, that's a abroad kind of thing. That's not a Japanese thing. Like, sure, she learned how to make curry while she was abroad. Except this is Japanese style curry. Where's the bread? So yeah, I don't know, man. Don't worry about it. Anyway, we have some just cute maid outfits of Natsuru. Don't worry about it. Oh yeah, Natsuru's like, hey, why does my maid outfit look different from yours? And they're like, don't worry about it. And yeah, so like they have a day 2 of the festival after the beauty pageant thing, and they run a maid cafe. And then this is what I was saying earlier about how this show glorifies girls, but by being, you know, a harem show and also having the weird segregation thing. But then at the same time, we get a lot of female perspective, because we see Natsuru get like some light sexual harassment firsthand, where, you know, she's like, oh, can I take your order? And he's like, oh, coffee. And then he like grabs her hand and tries to like pull her close, and she's like, oh, you know, we can't really have the guests be touching the maids. Sorry, sir. So, like, am I thinking too much into this? Am I thinking too much into this? That Natsuru had to interact with his perverted best friend as a girl, and got to see, like, hey, maybe I shouldn't be hanging out with this guy. Is this what I really, is this how it feels? Is this what I've been doing to people? No wonder I should be in prison, or whatever that fudging. Ah! I dropped my fidget. Ow. Okay, I'm back. Don't worry about it. Anyway, here's the eye catch for this episode. Not going to show the after version, but I have a question. Who the fudge is this? Who the fudge is this? Because it's not this character. Right? It's not this character. Because the hair is too orange. But it looks like a weird, but yeah, it's, I don't know who this fudging character is. Is it her, like, slaughtered animal? Because her slaughtered animal is, like, strangled dog or whatever. And the strangled dog has, like, ears like that and orange. But, like, I don't know. Characters just be randomly appearing in the background of these, or in these eye-catch scenes. And also, what is up with the texture on this couch? Okay. We're focusing. We're talking about the anime. They go on a date. Natsudo and Sakura. But yeah, they go on a date and it's very cute. And then, but during which a mysterious new Kämpfer shows up the same day that his childhood friend showed up. So I don't know. These are definitely not the same character. I just don't know. If only the opening and ending themes did not already spoil this explicitly. I lost it, but you get the idea. Oh wait, yeah. If only the opening and ending animations did not explicitly spoil this. But, you know, they reveal it in the same episode anyway, so it kind of doesn't super duper matter. Because they have a big, because he just shows up, they have a big fight, and then Natsudo's like, hey, is that you, Mikoto? And Mikoto's like, no, baka. And then Natsudo transforms back into boy Natsudo, and then she's like, what? And then she effing dies. And then later they explain what's going on, and then she just is unceremoniously added to the harem. I lost my other fidget. Oh my gosh. Wait, where did that go? I was like holding it behind me, and now it's just gone. Is it in my pocket? Is it in my back pocket? Nope, I'm crazy. Wait, it's gone. It's literally gone. Is it in my shirt? Is it down my pants? Because I'm out of places to look at this point. Oh, I found it. It's like 30 feet in the opposite direction of where I dropped it. Anyway. Can you tell I'm a little out of it because I'm nervous about moving tomorrow? I know what you're gonna say. But Solaris, you've moved to a different country 4 times. Because you moved to Japan, and then back to America, and then back to Japan, then back to America. And that's not even mentioning all the times you moved back and forth from the sun and earth. So why is it... Don't worry about it. Shh, don't worry about it. Anyway, they talk about Natsudo being a lesbian. You're a guy that turns into a girl, wears a maid costume, plus you're becoming a lesbian. So Mikoto's like, this is weird, but I guess this is what's happening now. And that's kind of how episode 6 ends with another sunset rooftop confession. I realize that there's a lot. There's at least 3. Because there's this, and then this, which is in episode 2. And then there's at least 1 more. Yeah, in episode... trying to find a screenshot that won't spoil anything. Episode 11. There's multiple times they use this scene. So I wonder if that's intentional or not, or if they just... It's a dramatic scene to have Natsudo and Sakura at on the school rooftop at sundown, I guess. Anyway. Yeah, I don't have a lot. I know I'm only at episode 7, but I don't have a lot of notes left. I know I say that a lot, okay? I do tend to front load my discussions. Because I have a lot to say about the beginning, but then after a while, it's just like, yep, the show continues being like the show, and then I have new things to say as they prop up. But yeah, that's why I do like cover like an entire series and don't do like episode by episode. But I've been thinking about other ways to do that. But anyway, not right now. Episode 7 to 9. Let me get a drink. Okay. Episode 7 to 9. I just have these labeled in the batches that I watch them in, and I watch anime in 3 episode chunks. But it usually ends up working out. Like, they introduced a new character and kind of, like, ended her arc on episode 6. And then episode 3, what did I just say about not needing to do this? I think the screen is small enough for it not to be too much of an issue. Yeah, and then at the end of episode 3 was, like, Sakura's big declaration. So you know what? My conspiracy theory still holds. Anyway, they have a sleepover at Sakura's house because during their little date, they got interrupted, and Natsudo's like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that our date got interrupted because I got attacked. What can I do to make it up for you?" And Sakura's like, "You can spend the night over at my house." And Natsudo's like, "Ooh!" So yeah, then they do that. And then Shizuka and Akane join, and not Mikoto, because Mikoto is not an important character, I guess. I don't know. Are we sure that Mikoto doesn't appear here at any point? No. So yeah, anyway. And Sakura's house is full of the immolated... That is green? Okay. I'm highlighting all the notes that I've already talked about in yellow, but I accidentally did it in green. This is something you needed to know. My hair is messy. Yeah, I try to fix it a little. Okay. Anyway. Anyway, so they go to Sakura's house, and it's full of the, like, dead animals plushies that they have that are talking to them and telling them that they need to be Kämpfer. So at this point, why are there two? Why are there two? I did not know I could do that in this program. Anyway, so at this point, like, yeah, Sakura is just sus, but they know they've mentioned that before about how, like, hey, did you get that plush that ended up talking to you from Sakura too? Like, yeah, you too? Like, that's weird. Anyway, moving on. But yeah, that Sakura is definitely too suspicious to act. But I feel like at this point I was thinking, like, Sakura, they're setting up Sakura as being, like, too suspicious to actually do anything. But maybe I'm overthinking, because this is a dumb 2000s anime, and speaking of being a dumb 2000s anime, we got the Pocky game. It wouldn't be a dumb 2000s anime without the Pocky game. Also, note to self, never play chicken with Shizuku, because again, Shizuku just ends up kind of being the best character just because she's, like, significantly more assertive than anyone else. Because she's like, yeah, whatever, I'll fucking throw you to the ground and kiss you. Whatever. She's not losing that Pocky game. She is not losing that Pocky game. And then immediately afterwards, Natsudo and Akane do it, and Sakura is not happy about this. But they end up chickening out. It's crazy. That is orange. Maybe I'm getting also feeling a little lightheaded. We're almost done. Because I know we still have the entire final arc to say, but don't worry about it. Anyway, here is Sakura's collection of murdered animals. She got the lampshade, she got the bunny with a knife through its head, lamppost. This is like an aesthetic in Japan. I don't remember what it's called, but it's like creepy and cute at the same time. But I know there's a lot of other anime characters that have that as their quirk. I'd be very curious of what somebody interprets this anime like, of if they don't watch a lot of anime. Because for me, it's like, oh yeah, there's a lot of tropes and a lot of like anime medium language, visual language, a lot of things that happen that I kind of just accept that happen because it's anime, like the pervert friend character and the scene where the main character goes, what? And all the girls' characters just being in love with them, but I'd be interested in another perspective. Don't worry about what you just saw. Don't worry about that screenshot. You let me worry about that screenshot. But yeah, that's something I was thinking after the Yuri on Ice discussion podcast. Because again, for Victor, I just kind of interpreted Victor as being like a wacky, overly friendly anime character, as opposed to other people who were not super familiar with anime who saw Victor as incredibly suspicious at the beginning, which is really funny. Anyway, I don't know who the fudge this character is, or why they're dressed up as Hatsune Miku, and why they're having milk poured onto them, but you know what? Whatever, it's an eye catch. Don't think about it too hard. We get cute, fluffy PJs. And then Natsu gets turned back into a boy, and in the middle of the sleepover. And then it was this scene specifically that I remember, where Sakura tries to sneak into bed with girl Natsu. It's this scene specifically that I remember that has always stuck out to me for some reason, where Sakura tries to sneak into girl Natsu's bed, not knowing that it's actually boy Natsu, and like cuddles up and is like, "Oh, you know, you sure have wide shoulders, but I still love you, Natsu." And like, I don't know, it's just a funny scene. And unpacking it any further than that would require me to open up and explore my own psyche more than I'm comfortable with right now. So let's just move on with our lives. Anyway, another Kämpfer shows up. Oh my gosh. If nothing else, I will have a lot of material for the out of context compilation on this stream. But yeah, oh my gosh, she's a white Kämpfer? A white? She's white? We've never seen that before. Okay, at this point, I am just intentionally farming for out of context things. I will not put that in the out of context compilation. For out of respect. For what? I'm not sure. The integrity of the whole situation. Anyway, so she shows up and they fight her off, and then she just kind of screws off. And then the beginning of episode 8 is Shizuka is like, Natsu, let's go on a date. Again, I just love how straightforward and assertive Shizuka is. She just straight up asked Natsu out on a date. And this one brain cell ass having motherfucker says sure, because he thinks it's like a trap for the white Kämpfer. So the whole time they're on the date, he's like, oh, where do you think the white Kämpfer is gonna appear? And then Shizuka's like, I don't know. Anyway, I made you a box lunch. I made you a bento. But no, this is just straight up a date. There's no, like, Natsu interpreted it as, let's pretend we're on a date to lure out the white Kämpfer. But Shizuka is like, let's go out on a date, and they went out on a date, and that's what it was. And like, that's crazy. You'd never have that in a lot of other harem anime. And then reporter girl makes a funny face, and she's like, ooh, I got the scoop. I got the scoop. Anyway, I like the outfit that she's got here. Very nice use of dark purples. It might be a little too purple. Maybe the choker might be a little too much, but I do like that outfit. It does. I like the coloration with her hair and eyes. Yeah, don't worry about me and fashion. I'm not a fashion expert. I just see complementing colors, and I also like Natsuru's shoelace ass shirt over here. Anyway, they go to the aquarium, and then he gets her a gift because she's like, well, you know, you have to buy me a gift. That's what you're supposed to do on dates. And he's like, oh, okay. This dumbass 210 ass brain cell having ass. But yeah, this episode 8 was just like a standard harem episode outside of this one line where Natsuru's like, oh, I should turn into a girl in case the white Kämpfer shows up. And then Shizuka's like, but I'm confident that my feelings for you won't change even if you do transform into a girl. And again, all I have to say about that one is, hold on. I have it ready, I promise. I want a bisexual partner just in case. In case of what? Answer me, turtle! Answer me! Just in case. Just in case. Also, I realized that I've had the dancing gif on screen the entire time. Hopefully that isn't distracting. It hasn't distracted me at all. And I have no one in chat, so if it's distracting, I apologize. But I think it's fine. But yeah, shoutouts to the bisexuals in chat. There. Hold on. Wait. There. As Dom couldn't reply, I had to type woo for him. Earlier today, I said, yeah, woo! In the exact tone and voice that Dom would say it. And I think he's rubbing off on me. But to never let him tell you I said that. Never tell him I said that, though. He's already mad enough at me that I'm stealing his jokes. What do you think? That I'm doing it in real life, too? Anyway. So they have a date. Shizuka just straight up mounts him and feeds him a sausage. As a good shot. And then she talks about how, oh, you know, I have to... Why do I fight as a Kämpfer? Oh, let me think about that. And then sees a ghostly image. And then's like, no, I can't think about that right now. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what that next screenshot. So yeah, obviously, there's something... Shizuka is just like the best character. I don't know. She has like the most thought and thing put into her. Most thought and effort input into her character. Anyway, Akane finds out that Natsuru went on a date with Shizuka. Am I saying that name right? Am I crazy? I know those are unrelated questions that have two very different answers. Shizuku. Have I been saying Shizuka? Shizuku. Anyway, so Akane's like, hey, let's go on a swimsuit date. And it's like, yay, I get to go on a swimsuit date with Natsuru. And then that's her image of boy Natsuru. And then the bunny's like, are you sure you have the right character? Are you sure you're thinking of the right character? And then double checks Natsuru's character sheet. Like character character design reference sheet. Also, yes, by the way, in case you're wondering, Natsudu is always written in katakana. I was thinking that, like, oh, maybe boy Natsudu writes it in kanji and girl Natsudu writes it in katakana, but no, it's always, Natsudu is always written in katakana. Also says boy version here. Seno Natsuda, Hyojo appearance. Seno Natsudu, Hyojo appearance, Dan version, boy version. What that says, by the way. There's your Japanese lesson for the day. There's your second Japanese lesson for the day. And then afterward, Akane's like, oh yeah, you know, my brother always said to believe in the me that believes in me. And I'm like, wait, is this a Gurren Lagann reference? Is that what this is supposed to be? Show's weird. Anyway, they go on their swimsuit date, and what? The other members of the harem showed up too? That is crazy. And Sakura's here too? And Sakura's like, I only came because I heard that girl Natsudu was gonna show up at some point. And then she's like, oh, I know girl Natsudu. And again, they do the same joke. But just with the other version of Natsudu, which is really funny. Because we have Akane fantasizing about the boy Natsudu and having him not look at all what he actually looks like. And then we have Sakura doing the exact same thing about girl Natsudu. See, it's these kind of funny jokes that we can have in gender bender shows. Anyway. Yeah, Sakura then reminds us, like, hey, keep your grubby paws off of girl Natsudu. And then we have the swimsuit episode, where we have much more detailed shading than we ever had up until this point. I guess the shading hasn't been, like, bad, but still. Look at these off-model ass characters. Look at this. What is this? What is this? Look at her neck. She won't even, this one won't even have a neck. Mikoto stole all the neck from Akane. What the fudge? The jank ass show came and stay on model. It's crazy. And I'm not talking about, you know, when, the characters go specifically, like, intentionally off model for animation prop purposes. No, this is just unintentional characters being off model and lazy animation. And yes, I'm still mad, even though it's been like 10 years, about how the internet reacted to the first trailer of Pokemon Sun and Moon anime. And they just posted in between frames and were like, look at this bad animation. I'm still mad about it. I don't care how long it's been. But yeah, it's a very much a 2000s anime swimsuit episode before the final arc kind of episode. You know, where they're kind of like hanging out and having fun before that actual final arc happens. I think I've mentioned that recently. I don't remember in what anime though. Anyway, I also like how Sakura is cheering on Natsudu's harem. Be like, yes, please be into these girls and not girl Natsudu, because she's still under the impression that girl and boy Natsudu are dating because of one thing that Shizuka said and not anything that anyone else said. I don't know, I like Sakura's face in this shot. And then she looks over at she gives an evil look to some other background girls. Ooh. Sakura's just confirmed evil at this point, or has ulterior motives or whatever. It's explained in the OVAs, don't worry about it. Yeah, we're still on episode 9, and then girl Natsudu comes out and is like, oh my gosh, how can girls wear this? We're practically naked. This is so embarrassing. And I'm like, see, look, what I was talking about earlier, about the female perspective. I'm losing it. Anyway, girl Natsudu asks Sakura, hey, what do you think of boy Natsudu? And Sakura's like, honestly, I don't like him that much. He kind of sucks. And then girl Natsudu is just like, hey. Anyway. And then later on, they get attacked by these girls. I can't get a shot with all of them in one frame because this anime, as oft with low budget anime, they use a lot of panning shots, but you get the idea. They get attacked. It's the same girls that were there before. I like this Natsudu face. That's all I have to say. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, at some point during this confrontation, Akane calls Natsudu a dickhead, and Natsudu's like, "What dickhead? What about my dick? Oh wait, hold on." I found that line funny. Funny enough for me to remember in this moment, and it's not actually in my notes. Anyway, Shizuka pours a drink and then takes a sip out of it and then hands the cup to Natsudu. And then all the other girls who are officially in the harem are like, "What the fudge is this?" That was a weird voice I just did. And then Sakura's like, "Oh hell yeah!" And then Shizuka just kisses him again, and then the other girls freak out, and then Sakura's just on the side like, "Oh hell yeah, let's go!" So like, but. If she knew about these girls that had orders to attack a girl Natsudu, then surely she knows about girl Natsudu, but she kind of just pretends that she doesn't know, or maybe she doesn't know, who knows, whatever. Anyway, the end of episode 9 is she hypnotizes Natsudu and takes him out into the hallway, and she makes an evil face, and she does an evil face. And then we get to the exciting conclusion. Hold on. Okay, so anyway, after Sakura makes an evil face, we get to episode 10, where we have the thrilling conclusion of the series that I have 44 words about. Because okay, so episode 10 is mostly all about like Sakura being evil and being like, "Oh hey, you know, you should get together with Shizuku," because Sakura wants Natsudu to distract Shizuku and turn her into a bimbo because she thinks Shizuku is too smart and will, quote, get in the way of her plans or something. Not quote, but like get in the way of her plans or something to that effect. So she's like, "Oh, you know, if you turn Shizuka into a dumb bimbo, if you make Shizuka yours, then, you know, she won't be, then I'll reward you. I'll give you your wildest dreams." And he's like, he gets straight up hypnotized and then forgets what's happening. And then we have a, can I show this on YouTube? Hold on one second. Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. Anyway, so it's really weird because, okay, so we have the last 2 episodes as like, you know, the swimsuit beach episode before the final arc, and then things start getting serious, and then they just kind of go to a hot spring and they have a naked hot spring party. And these are the only 2 screenshots I can show from that section. Because again, like most ecchi H shows, like this, TV ecchi shows, not actual pornography, but very close to it. Not enough that I do not want to show it on YouTube. So yeah, I don't know, they just kind of have a diversion, and then Natsu's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm in the girls' bath, that's crazy." I don't know why she had a southern accent there, but don't worry about it. One of my voices ever made sense. And then afterwards, Natsuru's brainwashing gets reactivated, because like that's like a really random scene in the middle of an otherwise serious episode. I guess they're like, we have to have some silliness for this episode. Anyway, so Natsuko goes to Shizuka's hotel room and tries to, quote, make her his woman. And then Shizuka is like, oh, really? Who told you to do this? And he's like, Sakura told me to do this. And she's like, okay, I'll see you later, buddy. I'll see you later, buddy. She straight up just, like, kicks him, knocks him out, and is like, well, at least now I know that Sakura is up to something. And then being Shizuku, she's like, you know, we should do this again for real this next time when you're not hypnotized. I forget exactly what the quote was. We should continue this when you are yourself again. Something to that effect. She's down for doing the do, but she doesn't want to do it when Natsuru's hypnotized. I think she actually uses the word sex in the dub too. And in the Japanese version, she just uses the Japanese talking around things, where she just says to do it. But again, that basically means, the same thing. You were talking about the My Hero Academia dub. I don't know why we started talking about harem sex scenes. Now we're talking about My Hero Academia, but in My Hero Academia, when people are telling Deku that he doesn't have any superpowers, in the Japanese version, they're like, oh yeah, I mean, you having superpowers, that would be a bit, you know, that's a little, would be a little difficult. Where in the English dub, they just straight up say, like, yeah, no, you don't got superpowers, kid, sucks to be you. And I think that's just a difference of, like, culture in the language, where Japanese and Japan in general is just very much, like, more passive with that talking. So I consider that to be a good, translation. I consider that to be a good translation, because even though it's not directly translated, like, what they meant to say in Japanese, interpreted by English speakers, is basically what they translated it to anyway, so whatever, it works. All translation is localization. You can't avoid it. Otherwise, you just have a very stiff and weird sounding dub. But they should still put honorifics in the subtitles. That's all I'm saying. So anyway, this is Sakura being evil and having her evil harem or whatever. And they're like, yes, Mistress Kanade, Mistress Sakura, will do whatever you want. Blah, 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 blah. What is this? Hold on. Okay, anyway. So they go back. Yes, no. Okay, yes, no. Yes, no. No, yes. Yes, no. Yes. Okay, yes. I know, I'm nearing the end of my screenshots, because, again, this anime... Okay, the thing about this anime is it just kind of fudging ends. So Sakura wants Natsuru to distract Shizuku because Shizuku's too smart, and then Shizuku outsmarts it and finds out that Sakura's behind it, and Sakura's just plain evil, and then Shizuku talks about how the reason that she fights as a Kämpfer is to get to the truth, because she had a friend who was a red Kämpfer with her. Kämpfer with her, and she ended up dying, her friend, and that's who we saw in the clouds earlier. With her dead horse, I presume. I like that hairstyle. Not important right now. So she has a dead friend, and that's why she fights as a Kämpfer, to find the truth, and that's why she's so interested in figuring out what's going on with the moderators that are controlling everything. And then so she finds immolated lion, which was in Sakura's house, and then is actually a talking animal that is actually the first talking animal. And he's like, oh, I'm just an old man. And I don't think they talk about his voice actor, so kind of breaks the trend, but whatever. Anyway, so he explains that in a universe far, far away, two beings are fighting, and in order to not destroy their entire universe, they sent the bracelets down and have the Kämpfer fight in their place, so what side wins in the Kämpfer war decides who wins in the different dimension. And so, yes, it is definitely a war analogy because these people are fighting over a conflict that has nothing to do with them and is only for political reasons. Wow, an anime being anti-war, I could never have guessed. When it I need to end the stream soon. I'm losing it. I need the glass. I'm also out of water. So yeah, the plot is happening in between fan service scenes. Oh yeah, here we go. We have the thing. And then like how she goes from nice mode to evil mode is really funny. I did not mean to have those two screenshots back to back. But yeah, so she turns Natsu into a girl because at this point Natsu kind of knows how to transform, but can still. Sakura has like weird powers, and then hypnotizes female Natsu, and then these three get lured into a trap. They end up fighting. Hypnotized Natsu shows up, and Sakura is like, haha, I got Natsu on my side now. And then they get knocked out, and then girl Natsu is about to kill them, and then Natsu remembers, oh, that's the charm I bought for Shizuku during our date, and then she becomes not evil anymore. Natsu's like, I'd never kill my friends, even if I'm in love with you, Sakura. And then Sakura tries to fight, and then they defend themselves, and then for some effing reason they go Super Saiyan, and then there's like a whole big, they get like the animals like fudging glow and power them up and turn them into Super Saiyans, and they fudging have this big climactic fight at the last second, and then that's it. That's the end of the story. The end. Good night. And then that's literally the end of the anime, because that's the end of episode 11. So I'm like, surely they'll explain what the fudge just happened in episode 12. But episode 12 is just a random side story episode that isn't even canon. Because it takes place where it's like in a far off land where this woman who is not Natsu is reading a book to her child about the time that there was body swapping happening. And I'm like, but what about the plot that just happened? Are we not going to explain the whole Super Saiyan thing? Are we just gonna glaze past that? Are we just gonna throw past that? Are we not gonna acknowledge that? Like, what the fudge? But yeah, that's my notes for episodes 10 to 12. I will read out to them word by word. Sakura wants Natsu to distract Shizuku because Shizuku's too smart. Sakura's just evil. Plot is happening in between fan service scenes. Then it kind of just ends very anticlimactically. Then there's a random side story episode for the last TV episode. So like, yeah, what the fudge? And the side story episode is they switch bodies, and then like all the animals switch bodies with their like main Kämpfer, and then they go on an adventure and they befriend Sakura, and like it takes place during Christmas for some reason, even though the main series takes place in like the spring summer, but don't worry about it. And then at the end of that episode, they're like, oh, did you finish reading that story, honey? And she's like, yes, dear. And I was like, what the fudge is going on here? I know it's not actually Natsu, but like, what the fuck? I don't want to think about the implications of this. But I do like, baby Natsu is very adorable. That's all I have to say. I don't know what and I like this outfit. I like the colors in this outfit. That's all I have to say about the fudge this episode. So, anyway, that was episode 10 to 12. Again, I was not expecting a high bar from this show, but like, what the fudge was that ending? Like, it basically ended in like 2 episodes, but it didn't really have an ending because like episode 10 was just Natsu being hypnotized, and then Shizuku finding out that it was Sakura behind everything, and then episode 10 is 11. Episode 10 is that, and then 11 is the plot being dumped, and then the big fight, and then that's it. Did something vibrate, or am I crazy? And then they go Super Saiyan, and then that's the end. And then episode 12 is just, like, us random side story, and I don't understand. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. I actually have more to say about episodes 13 and 14. So yeah, that's episode 10 and 12. If you were watching it as it was airing, it just kind of ended abruptly, and then the last episode was absolutely nothing. Was just a random filler episode. Should have this a little bit more to the left. Okay. So yes, we get to the OVA episode, which can we have another shot? Okay, here's the OVA episode. Kämpfer de Librete Fura de Bie. Bie? How do you pronounce this? It's a thing that only ever comes and, like, appears in, like, weird loan words. I think it's Bie. B. Kämpfer Fura de Bie. You know what? We're putting it in Google Translate. Google Sensei, taskete. Für die Liebe, or in English, for love. Also, I know I don't have desktop audio on. Für die Liebe. But yeah, so OVA that was released like over a year after the original anime ended, and it has like a subtitle and like a new opening and ending theme. So that really makes me think that they wanted to do a second season, but they just didn't. So they just kind of cobbled together what they had of the second season and put it in 2 OVAs, which is really disappointing. But I know that I'm pretty much the only one that would be interested in a second season. Because again, to most people, this is just a whatever dime a dozen harem anime. But like, it's crazy how these, okay, this is safe for work. This is not safe for work. Things are happening during this scene, but this screenshot in particular is safe for work. But yeah, it's insane how this has, like, it looks like a real show. It's the fudged up part about this. Like, it's kind of crazy how these 2 OVA episodes look like an actual anime. Like, there's animation, like, things move, things have, like, weight to them. People aren't just moving around. People aren't just being dragged around like this. Like, there's actually weight to the animation. There's, like, real directing. And people are, like, on model. That's, like, insane. Hold on. There's, like, a shot where I'm like, yeah, look, even in, like, a funny, silly, comedy scene like this, look, everybody is on model. It still doesn't look super fantastic, but, you know, for a scene that shows up not too long, everybody's on model. Compare that to the original anime where that looked like effing this. So, like, what the fudge? Again, that's what makes me think that the people behind this anime had larger aspirations for this than what could actually have been done. But, you know, that's just kind of how anime goes sometimes. Yeah, it makes me mad that the rest of the series doesn't look like this. And then it feels like it was meant to be a season 2 with the subtitle and the new opening and ending. But, yeah, outside of this initial scene where Shizuka tries to take Natsu, and Natsu's like, wait, where are you taking me? Where are we going? And then she transforms halfway through, and then Shizuka's like, oh, I don't mind even if you are a girl. And again, we shout outs to the bisexuals in chat. Yes, I had to do the same joke twice, don't worry about it. But yeah, anyway, outside of this little opening that they that has nothing to do with anything, the first OVA / episode 13 does actually pick up exactly where episode 11 ended, as opposed to just ignoring all of that happened for a Christmas episode like episode 12, where, you know, they see Sakura again and they're like, hold on, there's Sakura, she just tried to kill us last night, like during that whole debacle that happened where we went Super Saiyan. You remember that? That was weird that we went Super Saiyan. We're not acknowledging that still, but hey, at least we're acknowledging the fact that Sakura just tried to kill us yesterday. And then Shizuka's like, wait, hold on. And then Sakura's acting like a little normal ditzy person. And then she turns evil. And it's kind of implied, they kind of explain near the end that they think that, yeah, they heavily imply that Sakura has like a split personality or something. Because later, like at the end of this confrontation, Sakura's like, oh, I'll leave you guys for now, but, you know, maybe Sakura won't remember this later. So it's kind of implied that, like, Sakura is being controlled sometimes, or Sakura has a split personality or something to that effect. But yeah, that's at least some explanation as opposed to the no explanation. And, like, look, there's, like, weird, like, not side character, but like characters not in the center of the frame having like reaction shots to things. Like it feels like a real ass show. It's crazy. I didn't think the original show looked that bad until I saw these 2 OVA episodes and I'm like, this is what this show could have looked like? That's crazy. But yeah, so apparently Sakura is being like controlled or has a evil personality, but the real Sakura is still nice, and Natsuru's like, I'm gonna save the good Sakura because she's being controlled or something. And then we actually get this is actually a Mikoto episode. How did I have static on that? Anyway, because evil Sakura is trying to seduce Natsuru, and she's making great faces as per usual. Love evil Sakura faces, you have no idea. Like, ditzy good Sakura, evil manipulator Sakura. Anyway, so she got hypnotized Mikoto here. So it's nice to see Mikoto get some attention because the original anime did not acknowledge her at all, and I'm pretty sure in the episode preview they said such. And then I also like this part where Sakura is forcing Mikoto to seduce Natsuru, and then she just effing gets shot. These are the 4 consecutive, like 5. Wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, these are 5 consecutive frames where Sakura just gets effing shot from off screen and then falls off screen and effing dies. It's so funny. One more time. I love how she falls off screen. And then Mikoto's like, oh, you're gonna get in the way, I'm gonna fight you. And then Sakura's like, I'm not actually dead. She's just kind of like, oh no, is she okay? Funny. I don't think I meant to save this. But anyway, and then Sakura is evil, and like, look, there's like directing. They're in a scene that's not like one of the 5 sets that they have. They're by the river during sunset and like environmental things are happening. Like, look at these fireflies. Like, it's kind of crazy. Anyway, so Shizuku and hypnotized Mikoto are fighting, and then Shizuku does the thing that was in Naruto where what the fudge is it called? The thing where you shove your finger up someone's butt. I forget what it's called. But that's an actual thing. When I went to Japan, they're like, yeah, by the way, be careful of this, because I know it was in Naruto, but it's a real Japanese thing, and it's kind of crazy, and elementary schools will definitely try to do it. That's why you never turn your back on them. Anyway, unrelated note. That was an unrelated note. That's how Shizuku broke Mikoto out of the hypnotation. And then, Sakura is just, like, really powerful because she stopped Shizuku's weapons and then stopped Mikoto's sword slash with her knee and elbow, and then shortly after this snapped them in half. And then that's when she left and was like, oh, you know, I'll leave you for now, but next time I might not actually remember. How have I been rambling by myself for 3 hours? Anyway, and then so it's nice to get some sort of resolution and acknowledgement for what happened in episode 11. It's not much, but it's more than the original anime gave us. And then, they're all like, hey, so what was going on over there? It's like, oh, nothing, I guess, playing, and then they run away, and then, haha, fun times in Cleveland tonight. And then, it's unfortunate that the next episode is not actual plot, that the last episode is just like, what if Natsuru had to work at a maid cafe? Oh my gosh, that's not the left number pad. Losing my voice. But yeah, I like episode 14 more than 12 because 12 was just like completely like, they resolved at least a little bit of what was happening from episode 11. So now they kind of more earned this. Also, background characters with designs that I like. This is a good outfit. The black curls and the green outfit is good. Anyway, not important. Not important. I don't think they call I can't. I'm out of water and my throat is dying. I do not think they call it a maid cafe, but they have a lot of maid cafe tropes, like a list of girls that you can request. I'm dying. But yeah, so yes, yeah, 14 is just another funny one-off episode where Natsuru is like, I need to buy a new bra, and then Akane is like, you can work with me, and then they somehow end up working at a maid cafe, or bunny maid cafe thingy mabobber. Bunny, have you ever played the game Bunny Garden? You remember the game Bunny Garden? That's what this place is. It's like a visual novel thingy where you go to a bunny, basically a maid cafe, but bunny. And then during this, Natsuru has to be at 2 places at the same time because Natsuru has to work at the maid cafe, but at the same, like, look at this! Hold on, I got distracted. Look at this! You never actual, like, sparks between 2 characters that are mad. That's like a visual anime thing that never happened in the series proper. That's crazy. I don't know what's going on here. Just Sakura being evil with her groupies. Anyway, so Natsuru has to both work at the bunny garden place, and also he has to go on a group date, which leads to this shot, which is funny. Which is the boy Natsuru in the bunny outfit is funny. Anyway, so it leads to the scene where Natsuru is at the group event, and then they're like, oh, by the way, where did that girl Natsuru go? And boy Natsuru's like, I'll be right back. Hi, what's up? and then they're like, hey, what happened to boy Natsuru? And she's like, I'll be right back. Hi guys, what's up? And each time their clothes are just more and more disheveled as they get run out of energy, switching back and forth, and it's a fun time. And it just ends up dying. And also, it's Shizuka that keeps saying, "Oh, by the way, where did boy Natsudu go? Where did girl Natsudu go? Where did now boy Natsudu's gone again? That's crazy." So Shizuka continues to be the best character in this series. But yeah, anyway, I would have still preferred actual explanation for anything that happened, but you know, as far as a dumb harem anime is concerned, I appreciate that this actually takes place in the timeline, and the double date vibes are funny. And I think this is like a reference. Actually, I think I know what this is a reference to now. I took a picture of this planning to ask, hey, what is this a reference to? But I want to say this is a reference to Vocaloid and Black Rock Shooter. Vocaloid on the right and then Black Rock Shooter on the left. If Dom was here, Dom would know the exact name of everyone in Vocaloid. I think it's Rin, right? Vocaloid Rin. Yes, that's Rin, and then that's the Black Rock Shooter on the left. And that's all the notes that I have. Alright, and by that I mean that's all the notes and all of the screenshots that I have. Because again, the last episode is funny, but not a lot of things happen. The double date vibes are very funny. Natsudu having to be in two places at the same time. But that's pretty much it. I don't actually have anything prepared for the ending, I'm not gonna lie to you. Because that's the ending. If you think that had a anticlimactic ending, I'm losing it. This is way too late than I planned. And I've just been rambling to myself. Which, you know what? If I was to, for the last stream before taking a break, if it has to be anything, then sure. Why? Let's let it be this. Why not? It has to be this way, I suppose. Of me losing my mind talking about gender with nobody in the chat. Shouts to VOD viewers and lurkers. Because apparently this... I'm just checking now. I pulled it up and checking now because I usually don't have this pulled up. Apparently as this has gotten 17 views at some point. So, you know what? We'll take it. And again, these always get more VOD views, so shoutouts to VOD watchers. And this will probably get more VOD views than usual because I'll probably stop for a while. Anyway, two things. Overall thoughts on the show and plans moving forward. So overall thoughts on the show. I feel like this is... I mean, listen, I know I can't judge any show objectively. I forgot about the bad transparency error here with Natsudu's hair. I know you can't rate anything objectively, but especially for this show, I feel like I can't. Because on one hand, I want to say, like, yeah, like, 5 out of 10. Like, it's just a whatever dumb harem show. The dime a dozen harem show, it's very low. I would give it, like, maybe a 4. It's not, like, bad, but, like, the animation errors and the complete lack of an ending, kind of. I mean, a lot of anime have a complete lack of ending, but, like, this one where they just kind of, like, okay, anyway, here's a side story about Christmas, is another level of bad not having an ending. But, so, on one hand, I want to be like, yeah, 4 out of 10, it's not awful, but, it has its moments, but it has a lot of issues. But on the other hand, I did just rant about it for 3 hours, and it appealed to me because of the weird things that are going on with my gender fluidity. So, you know, listen, if you're not me, someone who is nostalgic for dumb 2000s harem shows and also relates with the gender of the main character very hard, then if you're not specifically me, then I don't know if I can recommend this show. But I mean, if you're anything like me, you might like this show. I don't know. If you relate to me if you are similar to me in certain aspects, then you might enjoy the show. That's why I'm saying, like, so I don't know. For me, what do I rate the show personally? I really like it. I have no idea. I still have no idea. Because I enjoyed watching it. I got a lot out of it, but it was a very, like, personal experience of me watching this show. So to actually give it, like, a rating out of 10 is very complicated. So you know what? We're just not gonna give it a rating. My rating is everything that I just said in the last 3 hours. We're not gonna give it a score. Have I given it a score before? No, it just says 0 on NA. So yeah, apparently that's what I thought the first time I watched this show too. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the show. If you're looking for good anime, look elsewhere, but if you're looking for something that can appeal to a very specific thing, I don't want to say fetish. It's not like a fetish thing, but it's like kind of it's like a non-sexual fetish, a fascination. It appeals to a certain type of person who likes certain types of things, but it's not like a sexual fetish. I don't know, man. Don't worry about it. Look, it's Dom in chat giving me the right answer. Okay, everybody, go see what Dom said in chat right there. Anyway, in a broad sense, like, no, this is not a good anime, but in the sense that anime is kind of supposed to be like a niche thing appealing to very niche interests. Maybe interest was the word I was looking for. Thanks, Dom. For anime appealing to very niche interests, this definitely appeals to a very niche interest. So, is it a good anime? No, but am I glad it exists and did I have fun watching it? Yes. That's what I have to say about the Kämpfer. So anyway, for what I'm doing next, did I really not write anything for the ending section? That's crazy. So yeah, as I said before, if you're watching this sometime in the first half of July 2025, I will be taking a break because I'm moving literally tomorrow in like less than 12 hours, so, or 10 hours, so I should probably get to bed. So yeah, I'm moving and I don't know exactly how easy it is gonna be to stream there because I'll have housemates and I'll be self-conscious about noise, and I don't know how the noise situation is gonna work. I might have to buy some sound dampening stuff, and I also don't know how the internet is gonna work there. So, and also I've been streaming a lot, so I kind of want a little bit of a break, for at least like the next like 2 or 3 weeks, for at least the next 2 weeks, I think, for the next like week or two, guaranteed. Like I want to take a little bit of a break just to settle into the new place. But I will be back by probably, I'm making plans to come back here at this place for a visit on the when Donkey Kong Bonanza comes out, basically. So I will be back for Donkey Kong Bonanza to do a stream of that. So at the very least, if I can't get internet and streaming to work at the new place, then I can at the very least come here and then we'll stream Donkey Kong Bonanza. But I'll be flexible. I'll take it one day at a time. Maybe streaming at the new place will be just fine. I don't know. They did say something about how they were having problems with the internet, so I don't know. We will see. But yeah, that is the current plan. So as far as the next anime discussion goes, there is none currently planned. I mean, I guess I could, and because I could, you know, I'm sure the internet will be good enough to at least watch anime. If it's not, then I will be sad and just play my Yuri Switch games. But yeah, but future plans that I do have is that I know that Is it summer or spring? What is the current anime season that we're in? Okay, we're at the end of spring. So I want to do some spring anime. I definitely, definitely want to do summer pockets at some point. Just because it's made by the same people who worked on Clannad and whatnot. So obviously I was going to check that out and might as well make a discussion of it. But there's and probably some other things from the spring season. And also, I was also thinking of maybe doing like a seasonal impressions. Because I was thinking of doing that a couple of times, and I might actually do that, where I watch one episode of a bunch of different, instead of watching a 12 episode anime, like watch one episode of 12 different anime as they come out and are new. Like the first episode ones of like 12 different anime of the new season. And then just give my general thoughts on that. I might do that. The reason I haven't is because I don't like things being immediately like outdated. That's why I don't like do like news videos or whatever. That's why I don't do like anime episode by episode, because what I think at the beginning of the show might be very different from the end. But it might be something I want to do at least once just to see how fun it is. And I do think I am pretty good on judging if I will at least like an anime by the first episode. So I think I can at least like watch a bunch of first episodes and say like, oh, this will probably be good and this will probably be bad, stuff like that. So it might be a fun thing to do. But yeah, that's what I'm planning to do with anime. And I have some other anime streams planned too. And currently there is no anime discussion planned, but if you are wanting to watch some anime that I will probably talk about, I will probably talk about Summer Pockets at some point. Lazarus? The fudgin Shinichiro Watanabe, the new Shinichiro Watanabe show. Razoro. That's what it's called. The new Shinichiro Watanabe. I want to watch that. I will probably watch that. He did Cowboy Bebop and Space Dandy and what was the other one? More recent. Did he not do Carol on Tuesday? No, he did do Carol on Tuesday. Yeah. He's the Westaboo. He makes a lot of like very Western inspired anime. And and I've heard good things about Lazarus. So probably Summer Pockets. There's a new Gundam. Might probably watch that. And some anime of the summer 25 season. Probably not anything with the season 2, because season 2 is probably just like, yeah, if you like season 1, you'll probably like season 2. Like Biscuit Doll season 2, Dandadan season 2. Yofukashi no Uta getting a season 2. I'm so excited about that. That is something that I was not expecting. I should give Bunny Senpai another shot. Rascal does not dream of Bunny Girl or whatever. Because I watched like 3 episodes of that show and I'm like, this is dumb. But I'm willing to give it another shot because people do like it a lot and it has a lot of stuff. Yeah, I dropped it after episode 3. And there's also a new, so I should give that another try. Grand Blue I've also heard good things of. Dr. Stone I still need to watch. There's a new Panty and Stocking, new Super Panty and Stocking. After like fudging 15 years, that's crazy. There's some Yuri shows, hell yeah. So yeah, so if you young child, if you need some anime guidance, go watch some of those shows. And also we'll probably do, I did promise Poke that we'll do, Revolutionary Girl Utena at some point. And also, Dom has caught up on Pokemon, so we will do Pokemon at some point as well. Pokemon Horizons, because I think we did 3 discussions of that. I forget what episode we left off on. Let me see. Podcast, Pokemon discussion. We only did 2. We covered up to episode 34. And then I watched, I think, up to episode 40 something. And then Dom was like, yeah, I'm behind. And then, like, a year and a half later, Dom was like, oh, by the way, I'm ahead of you now. And I'm like, Frat! So we'll continue Pokemon soon, at some point. And by soon, I mean at some point. So yeah, there's some anime to watch if you want to watch some anime. Anime is cool. I love anime. Because even when anime is bad, it still gives me a lot of very interesting things to talk about and think about. Because if you think I've been ranting about this anime for a while, I've been thinking about this anime for even longer. Like, it's been in the back of my head ever since I watched it back in 2011, and especially over the past 2 weeks that I've been rewatching it, I've definitely been thinking about it a lot. And I'd fudging probably have way more, we'll continue to think about it and have more thoughts about it. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We'll do an annual Kämpfer rewatch. We down for that? Are we down for doing that in chat? Can I get some... Would people be interested in a yearly Kämpfer rewatch? Oh, Enyou Solaris? Yes, that would be cool. Okay, thanks. I'm losing it. I can barely keep my eyes open. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, so I will be... Anyway, Kämpfer's anime is good. Kämpfer is interesting. And I'll say good. I liked it. I won't say it's good, but I liked it. I had a fun time watching and thinking about it. Anime's good. I'll be taking a break for the first half of July. But I'll be back at least in time for Donkey Kong Bonanza. And more anime soon. So yeah, that'll be a fun time. Okay, microphone has not died this whole time. That'd be tragic if I went to timestamp the VOD and then it's just muted. But I don't think that has happened. Hello, hello, hello. It's me. Whoop-de-doop-a-doo. I'm from the sun. Whoop-de-doop-a-doo. Okay, stream is... Okay. Whoop-de-doop-a-doo. Okay, stream is working. Okay, I'm dying. Anyway. I will try to think positive things about the future and try not to worry about things until they happen and then trust that I can handle them. Oh my gosh, I'm dying. I gotta go to bed. Thank you all for listening, watching, whatever. Shoutouts to lurkers, shoutouts to VOD watchers. Shoutouts to the people who wanted to be here but couldn't. We love you all the same. And, yeah, no matter where you are, you're great and awesome, and I love you, okay? That's all I wanted to say. But yeah, I'm actually ending for real. Thanks for the stream. Support artists. Anime is cool. Be kind to others, be kind to yourself. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I can't remember any of my outro. I hope you have good times. And until next time, stay fresh, cheese bags. Okay, we did it. I can delete this promotion because it's done. We did it. Okay, I go sleep now. I will see you all soon. Goodbye!